with one of the gentlemen who works in the transportation sector, and he was waiting for some two of our colleagues who work in TV, and so I got chatting to these people when they came. I was in his car as we were chatting. Now, I didn't know that there actually exists a school for children in this country who have Down syndrome. Yes, and it was started by somebody who was born with that condition, but was taken through the appropriate schools and was able to manage their lives, and with the help of the parents started a school. So they were actually going to interview the people who run that school, the teachers and so forth. And I said, find out for me if they are willing to come to the situation room to discuss.
Oh, yes.
I said that.
Where is the school based?
Somewhere in Karen. I didn't get the details, yes. I found it a fascinating story.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
That's beautiful. If you actually think about the special needs schools that we have in the country, the public ones are very few.
They're extremely few.
And then the method of identification of a child who needs special needs.
Yes.
Okay. Apart from those ones that are physical, where you can see that this one has, a physical disability. Either they can't see, and you can clearly see they have, visual impairment or hearing impairment, or something to do with their limbs. Others, such as like the way you're saying, Down syndrome and the rest.
What if they're autistic?
Autistic. It's a very difficult journey for very many children.
It's a terribly difficult journey for the children and their parents.
Even things like dyslexia.
Oh, now that goes. You actually wonder whether when we train our teachers, whether they are units where they are trained to actually, even before specialization, whether they're trained to identify the likely symptoms of some of these diseases.
And then what do you do thereafter?
Yes, because these children do need special care.
Yep.
If you put them in what you call a normal school system, you will disadvantage them greatly, and you'll probably exacerbate the condition they have. Yes.
From the word go.
Yes.
And you find there are very, very, very many children who are like that.
Oh, yes, they are.
Who are subjected through this system where it's looking at academics, it's looking at you sitting down and taking notes and reading a book and standing up to read in front of the classroom and sitting an exam. And the exam is about reading the question and then writing down the answer, and you're graded on that. And there are children who are actually very, very bright. They are capable, but because of
a certain underlying condition that
just
they
that,
have.
yes. And just to identify them, you have because a teacher may be able to actually tell there's something about this child. Okay?
Yes.
Now, what do I do next? So let's say I go and report to the school head. Okay, what does the school head do? In a county, there's only one special school. How many assessors do you have for special needs who can go and identify, okay, so let's sit down, let's look at you, let's look at answer one or two questions. How do I identify that you actually need to go to that school?
You're right. The Ministry of Education, do they have centers where, yes, maybe you can't post every school with a special needs teacher, but do you have people who can be called and said, come and assess?
Come and assess.
And let us determine what sort of care, what sort of attention, educational attention this particular child or these children need.
The ministry will tell you that they do.
They'll even give you the numbers.
They'll give you the numbers, but you'll find there are two in a county. All right? And those two in a county usually interact with a special needs school.
That's the focus.
Yes.
Not the regular schools where you will find special needs students.
Children.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a big one. Anyway, let's hope we can get the proprietors and managers of that school to come and join us. It should be a good story to hear. A very good story to hear. Let me tell you what we'll be discussing today, this Friday. So it's the 10th day of March. NSSF remittance happens by the 15th. Sindio?
Yes.
Yeah. So this month, people who are salaried, have you been deducted extra for NSSF? What does that mean? How's it going to be rolled out? The CEO of the National Social Security Fund. He's also the acting managing trustee. David Mwangangi joins us at 7 o'clock to talk about that, talk about how the new NSSF contributions are going to benefit workers. Take us through the entire rundown of, because we know there's going to be scaled deductions up to a certain point. So he'll come and explain to us the whole idea behind it. That's at 7 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, let's talk about this. Protests. We see protests call for defiance and protests and countrywide, nationwide protests and demonstrations. And then on the other side, we see nationwide call for prayers, this and the other. Is this what Kenyans voted for when they went to the polls on the 9th of August? We want to ask one of the people who was out there campaigning to be elected. Beatrice Elachi was elected by the people of Dagoretti North to be their member of parliament. So she'll come and be answerable to that. This calls for protests and the others are calling for prayers. When will you do the job that you promised to do? And when do we expect to get the results of what you promised you were going to do? Hiyo yote. Hiyo yote. Inakuja leo. It's 16 minutes after 6. Let's take a quick one to take a look at the weather forecast, and then we will be looking at newspaper headlines. Are you online? Because if you are, we'd like you to tell us where you're tuned in from. Go to our social media pages, SpiceFM KE on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and say good morning to CT, to Eric, and to Ednah. You can also say good morning to Undu. She is listening to us from her bed. Silly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
London Mulo and DJ Absolute. When the gang is together, you know it's sugar and spice. Great vibes, conversations, a lot of humor. I like to say we don't give an F, we give 3 Fs.
You and I are in this relationship, so it is me to tell you who we are.
When you ask a chick, how many guys have you been in? She's like, including you. If it's fun, it's funky, it's fresh, you're definitely going to catch it here. I don't know what you do every day from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock. If I were you, I'd tune in to SpiceFM 94.4.
I want you on my team.
So does everybody else.
Clear skies at 18 minutes after 6 in Nairobi. Temperatures currently at 18, gonna rise to 29. Partly cloudy in Mombasa, highs of 25 today. Mostly clear skies in Malindi at 26. Partly cloudy in Kisumu, temperatures at 21. Nyeri is clear, morning at 14. Nakuru is clear skies at 16. Kakamega, clear skies at 13. Eldoret, clear skies at 18. Dar es Salaam, mostly cloudy, morning at 27. Kampala, light rains at 18. Kinshasa, mostly cloudy at 26. Johannesburg, clear skies at 12. London, cloudy, morning at 8. New York, clear night at 4 degrees. Paris, cloudy, morning at 10. And Beijing is a sunny morning at 19.
Chilled Spice. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice.
It's 19 after 6. Let me tell you who's online. Rajab Hatibu is online on Facebook. Good morning, Bwana City Muga and Mr. Eric watching from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The show is also huge with our brothers from TZ. That's very good to know, City. Salimia ndugu zetu wakiwa pale Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
Hamjambo wapendwa. Twashukuru sana.
Karibuni nyote.
Mnakaribishwa.
Yes.
The person who calls himself the Deep State says good morning and happy Friday. Great interviews holding the fort in the absence of Madam Ndu. Hello to Ednah. Good morning, Ednah. Davis Mongare says good morning, Eric and City watching from Karen, Shoni Fire. We hope it's going to be even hotter throughout the day. Jojo Mugale, good morning, City and Eric and do wherever she is. I'm tuned in online and radio on my hot seat waiting to see how it goes. Okay. Jacob says good morning, listening from Thika, asking why City is wearing an oversized what? Oversized trouser. Where? In this photo? Blood. Go ahead. Look at this one. Hajui huyu bana.
Fashion hiyo.
Huyu jamaa hajui bana.
Ni fashion bana.
Tumfunze bana.
Hajui fashion.
Ya, tumfunze huyu jamaa fashion huyu
Yes.
jamaa. Hajui bana.
Angalia na macho bana, sio masikio.
Jacob. Aliye macho haambiwi tazama. Henry Malumu, good morning guys from Kibra Darajani slums, listening, tuned into the show already. DJ Femi also in Githagoro, well represented. Kipto, morning, please talk about ADHD disorder. All right, that too. Abdul Malik Abdulaziz tuned in from Kendube. Harry Kakunde Ndani. Dan Kuto watching from Eldoret. Bewa Macha, good morning from, of course, Macha. Overseer Fred Wanjohi, Kenyatta University is tuned in. Collins Kimtai Kipsat in Eldoret. Geshoi Titus, good morning. Robert Bogo, good morning. Mombasa is tuned in. Simon Odhiambo, good morning. If the TSC CEO has refused you invite to the situation room, I possibly know what she's avoiding. Pure impunity in that office. Simon, we'll keep trying. Never give up, okay? Moniz Janeth, good morning. Hello, CT and Mr. Eric. Good morning to you, Moniz. Shalom Mukama, good morning. MCA James Kimanzi tuned in from Nyali. Buddha wa Iria in Ruiru is also tuned in. Muko wengi sana. Let me just say good morning to all of you. Lanchavin Moyo, good morning. Nawakilisha brothers nikiwa industrial area Nairobi na niko ndani. Karibu sana. Stanley Ngashastan, good morning. TSR from Juja. Who else? Amos Freeman, Kimilili, well tuned in. All of you, we see you. Good morning and a very happy Friday to you. Karibuni sana kwenye mpango wa leo. City. The proverb from Rwanda.
Yes. This is the last proverb from the country of Rwanda. It's interesting. I picked up this proverb because we've read proverbs from other countries that have a similarity to this one. If your mouth turns into a knife, it will cut your lips.
If your mouth turns into a knife,
yes,
it will cut your lips.
Yes.
Okay, not so straightforward, huh?
Well, at what point does the mouth divorce itself from your lips? Because I would take the view that your lips are part of your mouth.
That's true. So?
Yes. What is it about the mouth that would turn it into a knife so that your lips are now in danger? And the two work in tandem.
Continue. So what are they saying?
My thinking was,
are they cautioning you against turning your mouth into a knife? That is, starting to use your mouth to stab others or to cut others or and saying it'll cut you too.
That is a very probable definition and interpretation of the poem.
The proverb.
Yes, because the thing we associate the mouth with is words. We also associate with eating, but then that goes into the whole mouth thing. But the lips, the association here is words. Now, the words we utter can actually be a blessing or they can be a curse for many people. Now, it's when you bear that in mind and you constantly remember the damage that can be done by the word that people utter. Okay? Yes. I think then you get a picture of what it is that they may be referring to. Yes. Because words can be harmful.
Words can be harmful.
And the problem is once uttered, you actually can't retrieve them and wash them and turn them into something other than what it was that they were when they were first unleashed. But then also there's a consideration. Lips are part and parcel of the mouth. The things that can harm you the most are things that are probably closest to you. The things you share commonalities with.
Yes.
And in this regard, people.
Yes.
They are the ones who can actually cause you the most damage. Because they're familiar with you. They know things about you that other people have no clue about.
Yes. Okay.
My thoughts.
Okay. Let's look at the headlines. What are you looking at?
I'm actually looking at a photo story.
Okay.
And the photo story is something that is heartwarming. Heartwarming in this sense. We touched on it yesterday. But I feel, given the doom and gloom stories that we have in all these papers of this to me is refreshing.
Okay.
It's starving Kenyans get relief food. Okay? These are pictures of the Red Cross, Safaricom, business, and they're in Marsabit. Okay? And you're talking about Garbatula. You're talking about North Hor. I'm looking at just the numbers of people who have come for relief food and how many people are being reached. These pictures tell a very, very interesting story. Yes. So that for me, that the Red Cross, that Safaricom, that business people, that the Wananchi, led by the National Steering Committee chairman on this particular matter, that they have responded and that people actually getting relief food in this county is a wonderful thing. My prayer is that others who need food, because, man, there are 23 counties that are having these problems.
Bwana.
Yes, this is one. 23.
And it can't just be a one hit, huh?
No.
You
Now
go
a one
and
hit
take the
doesn't.
food
No,
and then
it doesn't.
Yeah.
And then you disappear.
How much was a household receiving?
They haven't indicated here, but if I were to look at the pictures, it's half a sack full of all manner of things. There's half a sack full of grain, a sack full of commodities that you use with the food. It seems to be, should we say, something that could last somebody probably 2 weeks or so. It's just from the optics. Because if you look at the pictures and what people are carrying on their heads, this isn't food for a day. But then there's also the question of the numbers of people in each family.
Yes.
So I'm starting from the effort that has been made.
There's effort.
Yes,
Start
and it's
from
clear.
that positive.
Yes. It's effort, and people are receiving food, and it's clear they're receiving them in large numbers. Now, the daunting task is, how do you reach the other people?
Yes. How do you reach
Because there
everybody?
are many other Kenyans who need this food.
5 million at least.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. So that's on the Star.
This is the Star.
Uh-huh.
Now we can get on to the depressing news. Yeah. Let's start with the Star, shall we? I mean the Business Daily.
Business Daily.
Homes to face higher sewage water bills in World Bank deal. Is that not depressing? State wants to raise 45 billion from tariff raise. Water firms to cover 150% cost with a hike. Not 100, not 50.
150%.
Yes. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. Just when you thought it was safe to get out of the water, a little article further down, credit. Costly loans beckon as government's paper rates hit record levels. Okay? Meaning, want to buy a home, you're doing business, the government steps up, is borrowing from the domestic market. We all know what that means, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, precisely. And so you will likely find that the interest rate that is being paid, yep. Yep.
Okay. Let me tell you what's on the front page of the Standard. The main headline, Raila set for protest, but Kindiki says, Jaribu. Azimio leader says the grand demos have started with March 20th climax in Nairobi, but Interior CS says he'll have none of that, daring Raila to disrupt government services, and he will face the full force of the law. All right. Okay. Other smaller headlines. You know the people who mill maize? They're called maize what?
Millers.
Those ones have shut down because the government has delayed in reimbursing them that subsidy program that was there for 2 weeks. Small and medium-sized millers have closed down after government delayed refunding money spent under maize subsidy program. Remember, there was some 10 billion shillings for some 2 weeks. Higher. That's it. Another headline here. New school uniform rules to rattle the sector. MPs... I love this one. MPs want counties to have distinct colors for uniforms and to standardize the price, where to buy them, and quality to ease parents' burden.
What nonsense is this?
I love it.
I think it's utter nonsense.
All schools in Nairobi wear these uniforms.
No.
All schools in Nyeri
No.
wear this uniform.
No.
All schools in Muranga
No.
wear this uniform.
No.
Standardize.
So all teachers who are in Nairobi also give them uniform. Is
No,
that it?
teachers don't wear
Primary
uniform.
school teachers also give them uniform.
Teachers
so
don't
that
wear
we know.
uniform. Why are you bringing in issues?
I'm bringing
issues that are
in
not there?
because this is something that actually works and is being tinkered with.
It doesn't work.
uniform issue work. It only becomes a problem when somebody else decides that what was there before isn't working and they introduce something else. That's where the problem is.
That only is where the issue is. That only is why you're finding people going to Form 1 and they're being told to fork out 25,000 shillings for uniform. That only is where the problem has been for very many children who want to transition to secondary school.
Eric, you ensure that everybody in Nairobi wears blue, green, yellow, and purple. And the numbers of students in Nairobi, primary, secondary, different colors, what you've done is you've changed the business model and you have balkanized business in a direction you want it.
What's wrong? Tell me the harm.
The harm is this. School children are not school buses. Okay? School buses with the yellow color makes sense because that particular property, especially in private government schools, was being misused by people.
Okay.
It was considered a business that somebody could run on their own if they were heading a school.
Okay.
Uniform, the cartel that Senator Aaron Cheroti was talking about, this uniform business, there are people who have argued that there are cartels involved. So long as schools have uniforms, it's what you call a distinguishing factor. It's nothing different.
Okay,
It's
distinguishing what from what?
One school from another.
Okay.
Yes.
What is wrong if all of them wear uniform?
They're already wearing uniform.
Why do you need to distinguish between Upper Hill and...
yes, why do you need to change?
Standardization.
Why? What we have has been working.
It
Why are you
hasn't been
changing
working.
It has worked.
Okay, so it has worked. What's wrong with this other one?
Because it's being tinkered with. They are inventing something that already exists and works.
Watu wa status quo ndio nyinyi.
Actually, on this one, you have been correctly accused. Mimi ni mtu wa status quo.
We'll discuss it in detail.
Yes.
Grace Ojango, the pioneer woman, takes final bow, and the Standard has taken page 10 to pay tribute to her and to look at what she achieved, who she was. Grace shattered the glass ceiling for women. The Nation headline: Campaign of Defiance shifting gears on the fifth day of the handshake. Raila yesterday upped the pressure on President Ruto, announcing the start of nationwide mass action and launching a political green revolution against the president. Okay, higher. That is one headline. Another smaller headline here: I cannot believe the DNA tests finding that this is not my son. There's a woman called Ruth Mugendi who's distraught because she cannot wrap her mind around the finding that a child she believed was her son, who disappeared 11 years ago from her home in Silanga, Kibra, turned out not to be him following a DNA test. Third one: corruption graft donor demands refund of stolen 40 million shillings. The National AIDS and STI Control Program engaged in fraudulent and collusive practices during the selection of hotels for program activities funded by the Global Fund. Sasa wameambiwa return 40 million.
Your story wajua tuliongea at the beginning of the week. Yes, sasa it's been emphasized.
Yo.
Rudisha
pesa. Business fall and fall inside Tuskeg's last branch. That's something that is in the business of the nation today. And these are the others. Let's take... the Nairobian has Olunga and Lava are fighting for 67 million shillings land. Harambee Stars captain and girlfriend in court battle with the land company over delayed transfer. Way. Okay. It is 27 minutes to 7. Let's take this quick one to take a look at the traffic. If you're traveling on the road, I'll tell you how the roads are looking like. If you're thinking of traveling by air, let me tell you, well, unless you're just doing hopping from one town to another within Kenya. If you're going international, fly Emirates. That's your better choice. There's no better way to fly than Emirates. And if you're thinking of flying Emirates, upgrade yourself. Think of business and first class. The best way to fly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
I have a brother. He was a pilot. He was laid off. He came to a policeman. He messed up.
He went from a pilot to a policeman.
Exactly.
He stole a jet.
Yeah.
In fact, you should be lucky he was not court-martialed.
The Spice Drive. Big hair and the biggest hits from the best decade.
Indeed, Indeed, it's all about hashtag Spice Drive, hashtag Quatch, KWACH, 3 to 7 in the PM.
The Spice Drive, only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Damn.
Okay, what is there to report? Nothing on the major roads, but on the inner roads, somebody is saying, Waziri Kipchumba Murkomen, kindly upgrade some roads in Kitengela to tarmac and create alternative routes to allow people to move freely. Those snarl-ups within the estate in Kitengela are causing issues. All right. The road from Gitaru to Kangemi is also another point of discussion this morning. There are people who are saying it's become a killer road because of the matatu drivers not caring about other road users. Of course, you know, Gitaru to Kangemi. This is that section from ABC Place going to Limuru. It is chaotic. It's just nonsense. Don't even blame the matatu drivers. Of course, yes, they should all be courteous. But just think about it. Nothing, no road markings, no pedestrian crossing, no footbridges, no sufficient and allowable U-turns or acceleration and deceleration lanes, no bus stops and matatu stages. Just that road is just chaos. Anyway, if you're coming to town from Thika Road, it's still moving. You'll only get an issue there at the usual spot. This is in Muthaiga, and then it moves, but nothing else to report on the major roads. Good morning.
Spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM,
Let's,
Nairobi.
Debate this one a bit, CT, okay?
Please.
It's on page 9 of the Standard this morning.
Yes.
Counties may soon have distinct colours for school uniforms for all learners within their regions in radical new proposals that will regulate the outfits in learning institutions. And parents will then decide where they want to buy their uniforms that are now being proposed to be of the same quality across the country. What constitutes school uniform, the price, where to buy them, and colours will also be standardised to ease parents' burden if a motion by Gathoni Wamushomba, who's the Githunguri MP, is passed by the National Assembly through a simple majority. The MPs have already debated the school uniform motion, and Kenyans will keenly be waiting for Speaker Wetangula to put a question that House adopts the motion by the legislator. A draft bill that will also go through public participation, debated by MPs, and if passed, will usher in a new dawn in the uniform area. Yes, the MPs argue that schools have become commercial centres and have also created cartels of business ventures where parents are paying through their noses plus their neighbours' noses. We must come up with clear standards in terms of quality, quantity, colour, pricing, and open up the sector to local dressmakers. Standardization means that we shall regularize quality, colour, and the pricing and uniformity. So basically saying, instead of coming up with like a school here, he calls you, I don't know what school, it's a private school, this one is a public school, this one is and each one of them has a different uniform. And then this one tells you, no, our blue is, you see those things that Ndu tells us here? That green, which she calls teal. And the other green, which is called, I don't know what, golf grass. This is it for here. You know your child is going to secondary school in this county, you go and buy. It's a standardized quality.
There is a word that comes to mind. It's diversity, and how it is right from the very essence of nature to everything that we do on this planet. It is checkered with diversity. Now, one of the distinguishing features of diversity is color. Just the wide array of colors. We are forever learning new colors, and as people learn to mix these colors, we produce even new colors. So we move from primary colors to all sorts of colors, an array of it. Again, diversity. The thing about uniforms is that it has a distinguishing feature and for a specific purpose. The reason why the military has uniform, because you look at their function and what it is they do, it is important that they be recognized as representing a certain feature and a certain aspect, a certain duty.
Yes.
Same with the police.
Yes.
Okay, same with GSU, or whatever unit of service you want to refer to. Now, when you come to schools, and given the diversity that is represented by the location, that is represented by the the beginnings, or everything about it. The differences that we see in uniforms has been precisely that. Paying due diligence to diversity. Now, if the argument that I've heard you read there is a counter-argument that seems to state that the diversity that has been there has been exploited, and it has been used more to benefit the business people than the parents and the students. And they're saying that if we standardize this thing and we ensure that if all secondary school children who are in the government system wear green, then it is green. Whatever color it is they're going to choose. And they are suggesting that this will then eliminate the harm that we have seen being done with this diversity. And I'm saying there is no guarantee whatsoever that harm will be reduced. If anything, all that will have happened is if those people whom they say exist still exist, they will still be in that business of making uniforms. They will still provide the uniforms. So what exactly will have changed beyond you bringing in colors? What will have changed?
What will change is that now a school does not have to tell you that you can only buy a uniform from this shop. Okay? Because it doesn't matter where you buy a uniform. You're coming in uniform. The standard for the uniform will be defined. So someone cannot say, our sweaters have got to be hand knitted and not this other one. So the reason why we're telling you to this shop is because ours are hand knitted. It's standardized. It's a sweater, it's a sweater. It's a blouse, and this is the color. It's a tie, and this is the material and fabric. It's a short, it's skirt, this is it. You standardize it. Okay. And then you also say that anybody who is able to meet this standard can make. You can even make these things at your own home if you are a good seamstress and give your children uniform and let them go to school.
I agree. Why don't I just perhaps draw a parallel here and look at something like the production of textbooks for students in either primary or secondary school.
Yeah.
There'll be publishers whom the government gives the mandate to do precisely that. And it's only them because it's the same books. Every time you have a new government coming in, or you have a new PS coming in, or a new minister coming in, whatever the case may be, but more importantly, if you have a new syllabus coming in, you suddenly find that you are being told you need new textbooks. If you look at the actual content that is being taught, you will find very little difference. Okay? Very little difference in terms of content.
Yes.
Because the thinking behind the training and teaching of children is you want them to have a certain fundamental understanding of certain things. That is a constant.
Yeah.
So all you've done is, and the publisher are the same publishers. If I can publish this book with this, I can publish the next book and the next book. What I'm saying is, it's hoodwinking. You are giving a presentation and giving the impression that something fundamental will change, and yet nothing will change beyond the uniforms. The people who manufacture the uniforms, sell them, will be the same. It's not as though anything will have changed. And in fact, now you've made it worse, because if it's the same color, same everything. Remember the story of the cartel we had yesterday, where people collude and say, folks, this is the price we're going to have.
Yes.
You've now given them an even bigger platform for
you
to do precisely
City.
that.
You haven't, City. Because you're not only looking at large scale. You're actually saying that because it's open, you can go to Jericho Market and get your uniform. Because it's open, you can go to any person, any tailor. Go to Biashara Street, buy material, go to whichever tailor, tell them, shonea mimi uniform. You can go to Isli and spend your day buying material. Go to whichever tailor and tell them, get me this uniform. The possibility of them becoming a cartel is like saying there's a possibility of market traders across the country becoming a cartel. There are so many.
The uniform business
that they will actually not be able.
The uniform business is.
Mama Mboga cannot be a cartel.
Eric, the number of people who will go to the local tailor have always been there. And there are schools where these cartels in the rural areas don't really exist. So really, the local tailor is the one who has been making these uniforms. That is the reality.
Yes.
The point that you made was when a school insists that uniform must be bought at a certain place and at a certain price.
Yes.
Now, which one is easier to sort out? So the schools where they're doing these things, why don't you sort that out? You now want to change the entire system because of this 2 or 3 places where they insist that it must be checkered purple laced with green. For heaven's sake. I am not sold to not this particular one, but this idea that the only way you improve things is by changing something fundamental that really doesn't improve the education of the child, doesn't guarantee that the parent will pay less. It speaks of the possibility, but there is no guarantee. Yet the problems are clearly pointed out. There are rogue merchants, rogue school heads who do these things. You know where the problem is. Sort it out. You see, some of these things I can argue and foam at the mouth, but the real arbiter will be time. Okay? If indeed it is passed, we shall see. We had police uniforms. Did we not get to a point where police were being told to go and buy materials and get the uniforms made privately? Did we not find that?
Yes.
And that's a security. Police uniform, you can't let anybody make school uniform. No.
Police or school?
No, police. I've moved from school. I've gone to police.
You can't let anybody make police
uniform. No. Police uniform. You can't. Ati nani kwenda kwa fulani nitengeneze uniform. No. It's a security matter, and you're opening it up to some very, 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 very serious security issues. Let me hold my peace and wait and see how far this particular ruling goes. Should it go through, my position will remain the same. Should it not go through, then I'll say, please weed out the individuals who are crossing the line and disadvantaging parents and deal with them. Because you will know, for the story to become a story, then you know who it is that is doing this.
Yeah. We'll invite Gathoni wa Mushomba to come and tell us about this motion.
Yes.
Yeah? Sawa Ednah. Gathoni wa Mushomba, the Githunguri MP, will invite her one of these days. Let her come. Yes, and talk about it. Tell us another story there. What are those sad stories? And I'll tell you a happy one.
No, they're just depressing. Okay? Siasa, page 2 and 3 of the Star, Uhuru Sunset spending, how to recover irregular 15 billion. That's in Siasa. Okay? This Pandora's box, you will look at what Uhuru and his people did. And indeed, if there was wrong, by all means point it out and take the necessary action.
Yes.
But that very same torchlight will also search the very actions of this very same government. So let them be prepared, because this knife is a double-edged sword. It's going to cut both ways. The headline of the Star is the same as the others. Kindiki to Raila, you'll be met with full force. Okay, it's been said before. Azimio's strategy consists of defiance, protests, boycotts, and peaceful sit-ins. Again, we've had this before. Okay? But, again, we've heard this before, but I'll read it nonetheless. With regards to bandits, exclusive. We shall crush the bandit, says Interior CS. Okay?
It's exclusive to what?
Well, it's an exclusive aspect in the Star. It's a story that the government is going flat out, this is what they're saying, to crush bandits and secure parts of the North Rift. Parts of it are already classified as disturbed and dangerous. They've done this before. Anyway, I've said they've done this before, but now you're also saying they've done this before. In an exclusive interview on Wednesday with the Star, the Interior Cabinet Secretary Githure Mheshimiwa, hinted that the full-blown disarmament in this area has begun. Okay, fine. This one, I'll wait and see.
As he's talking like this, he should have actually talked to the people of Samburu who were attacked on, was it Monday or Tuesday?
Yep.
The attacks continue happening.
Yes, it's like a complete defiance.
Yes. Members of parliament from this region were addressing the media on Monday or Tuesday.
Yes, they were.
And they were talking about the same issue. They were saying, look, we need to see that military that we have talked about deploying. Where is it? He called a press conference, Kithure Kindiki, to talk about Matiang'i.
Yep.
Okay. Maize millers, a number of small and mid-sized maize millers have shut down while others have slowed down production as they grapple with delays by the government to pay refunds for the flour subsidy program introduced by President Uhuru Kenyatta. The millers are owed more than 1 to 3 billion shillings for availing maize flour at lower than market rates under the program, which was implemented between July 23rd and August 4th. That's in addition to some 4 billion shillings that the millers were paid in the early days of the program. The maize flour subsidy program was expected to bring down the cost of unga to 100 bob from 230. We all know whether that happened or not. And the United Grain Millers Association chairman Ken Nyaga says the millers have met their end of the bargain, but the government has failed to honor the agreement, with the industry now hurting due to delayed payments. I thought some of the money that the control of budget approved for withdrawal
Was for that purpose.
was for...
Well, it may have been for that purpose, but it leads us to ask the next question. So, where did it go? What other purpose was it used for? Is this not the story of our lives?
Aye.
Yep. Now you see why I say it's depressing.
Aye. It's a bizarre one. I mean, well, so first of all, just to be clear, this is a subsidy that started on July 23rd and ended 5 days before the election.
Yes, it did.
Okay. When President Uhuru Kenyatta was still the president, the maize subsidy was over. The unga subsidy was over. One of the reasons that Raila is giving for this new nationwide cost is they want to protest the withdrawal of unga subsidy. But this one was not withdrawn by Ruto.
No.
It expired. It was a 2-week program.
It was set as a 2-week program by the Uhuru government, and it expired. Yes.
Okay.
Or did the Kenya Kwanza government also promise their own set of subsidies?
Well, unless you can say that they started and then they withdrew the subsidy, I don't get it. Anyway, we'll talk about that in detail when Elachi comes and she'll tell us many things. There are some 2 interesting cases from court. One of them is there's a lobby that's going to court and they're seeking to open a class action lawsuit against Google. You know why? The African Center for Collective and Preventive Action says Google has illegally been tracking the movements of Android phone users and analyzing photos of anyone who has Google Photos on their devices. The rights group, through their lawyer Karugu Mbogwa, wants the court to certify the dispute as a class action case so that anyone who has a claim against the American firm can join it. So they say this, look, I have an Android phone or I have Google Photos. When I upload a Google photo, it uses the data to create it to, once personal data is uploaded, and specifically on Google Photos on Android phones, the photos are subjected to artificial intelligence, which analyzes unique points and contours of each individual's face. It then uses that data to create and store a template of each face without informing you, the user, of that data.
Muskia.
And then it also tracks your movement. Wherever you are, as long as you have Android or you have Gmail, it's also tracking your movement wherever you're going. And now lawyer Mbogo is saying, this one, no. That is one case. They want the court to allow them to open a class action lawsuit. We'll see how that goes. It's for watching. The other story involves Kenya Revenue Authority and Coca-Cola.
That's an interesting story.
Coca-Cola subsidiary, Coca-Cola Central East and West Africa Limited, and the mother Coca-Cola company, which is called Coca-Cola Export, based in the USA. This one was an interesting one. So, KRA had refused to refund some money. So this is what happened. You see, Coca-Cola in East and West Africa, Central, East and West Africa, supports the bottling companies.
They do.
Now, you see those adverts that you see on radio, you see on TV, you see on billboards, you see blah, 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 blah. Those ones, it is the Coca-Cola Export that's based in the USA that has promised to support the subsidiaries, Coca-Cola East, West, and
with that particular product.
With, helping you with adverts.
Yes.
Okay?
So this is a foreign company.
It's a foreign company. The issue
and it's
here
domiciled
is
in the foreign lands.
it's domiciled Uko. They are the ones who are advertising. It is not Coca-Cola East, Central, and West Africa that's advertising. Coca-Cola East and West and Central are not the consumers of the adverts. It is you and I who are the consumers of the adverts. Okay? Now, Coca-Cola has entered a deal with the export for marketing services to enhance the sale of its brands. It follows that Coca-Cola Africa in 2017 applied for a tax refund, but KRA declined, arguing that it had underdeclared VAT tax on locally consumed services and local sales. But the firm responded to the decision, arguing that the advertisement was an exported service and thus could not attract VAT. Justice Muita has agreed with the firm and says, you know what, my friends, that company is based in America. It's paying VAT in America. It cannot again pay VAT in Kenya. Okay? The advertiser is an American company. It's paid VAT in America. So you cannot really double charge VAT to them here. So 900 million shillings that KRA you're claiming, you're not entitled to it.
Bit of a blow, isn't it?
Yes.
But what does it point to? You see, this expansion of our knowledge of just our legal processes is something that is, now this one is heartwarming, it is cheerful. We now know a little bit more, but it also tells you that some of the people who advise KRA on these legal matters don't understand the law as well as they should. But this is what happens with a monopoly. You are accustomed, yes, you are accustomed to getting your way. You are accustomed. So, and you can threaten, and you have the muscle too. Okay?
Yes.
And the courts are part of that muscle. Now you take this matter to court and suddenly find it isn't quite working the way you thought. So now let's rethink it. Okay.
That's an interesting one.
It is. It's an extremely interesting one.
Yes.
You know, let me look at the Business Daily. Okay?
Yes.
Because Business Daily, how woman passed a faked marriage in plot to inherit Nairobi Tycoon's estate. It is a cheerful story. Yeah? It isn't as depressing as those other ones. A woman has been found guilty of forging the signature of a tycoon who died in 2018 to obtain a marriage certificate with plans to take over a multi-million shilling estate. Marilyn Mercy Onjiro, a mother of two, was found guilty last month of forging the papers alleging between her and Kawaranjit Singh Chadha, who died of a heart attack interstate. Christopher Mutira of International Pentecostal Holiness Church Africa, based in Nairobi, Zingara Estate, has also been implicated in the matter after claiming that he solemnized the marriage between Ms. Wanjiru and Mr. Chadha. With another house in Ngara where Mr. Chadha died, Ms. Wanjiru listed a motor vehicle, 2 plots in Nairobi, a 7.5-acre parcel in Shimoni, Kwale County, and treasury bonds held at Absa Bank. She also listed shares in Britam, Coop Bank, Diamond Trust Bank, Housing Finance Company of Kenya, KCB, Kenya Electricity Generating Company, KenGen, Safaricom, Total, Old Mutual, Absa, worth 5 million as of December 2018. The family of Mr. Chadha, led by his brother Parminder Singh, claimed that their kin was not married and never had a girlfriend. Yes, Milimani Principal Magistrate B.K. Ekubi ruled that the marriage certificate was forged for certain benefits and that the woman and the man of the cloth had a motive and an opportunity by presenting forged documents to Registrar of Marriages. I find the evidence evaluated cumulatively with emphasis on the highlighted part of the evidence from the law. The prosecution has established beyond an iota of doubt that the deceased did not sign the certificate of marriage as such. It was a forgery.
Well,
Are there limits or are there no limits?
So she forged and claimed that she had been married to this man.
Yep.
And so then she was obviously the one to inherit his property. What's the role of the man of the cloth?
He's the one who solemnized the union.
Oh, so he's... hapo walikuwa wamekacheza.
But this story is a really interesting one.
That one? Whoa. They had seen far.
Yes, and she also claimed...
So she's been found guilty. Has she been sentenced?
No, there's no sentencing here. Them, they just wanted to own property. And she had listed her son and daughter, who were the age 28 and 26, and herself as the surviving beneficiaries of this. But she met Mr. Chadha in 1989, when she was 19.
So they actually knew each other?
Yes, and they parted ways and reunited in 1999. They even lived together and started cohabiting in 2013 until his death. Yes, it's not as though she was unknown to this person.
Okay.
Yes.
It's not a stranger. She's just
No. It's not as though she
Okay.
she just went to the register of deaths and register of births and
There's
deaths.
something to that story then.
There's
something to
Did
that
I not
story.
tell you that this is a cheerful story?
It's another one. Good morning. It's 7 a.m. Let's see.
Up your life.
Good morning, this is the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga. Kisumu Azimio La Umoja supporters who will be picketing today against the government may clash with police officers if they attempt to be unruly. The demos follow the announcement by the coalition leader Raila Odinga as a way to push for the cost of living to go down, the IBC service to be open, and the appointment of new IBC officials to be halted. Kisumu County Assembly Speaker Elisha Oraro says they'll march from Kondele to the County Commissioner's office where they'll present their petition.
We shall converge at Kondele and we shall move peacefully to the County Commissioner's office to present a petition which has been drafted accordingly.
Although Raila insists that the protests will be peaceful, Interior CS Kithure Kindiki, who looked like he was targeting at the leader, has warned of stern action against disorderly picketers.
Any person, regardless of their rank in society, who even attempts to threaten to forcibly access security facilities or intimidate officers on duty will be dealt with firmly, ruthlessly, and decisively in accordance with the law. I direct all security agencies to ensure that our security facilities remain protected areas and should not be allowed to become a theater for politics or rowdy and unlawful behavior, including unauthorized access.
Also, Interior CS Kithure Kindiki will today issue guidance on the second phase of the ongoing security operation against bandits in the North Rift region. Kindiki says the second phase will differ from the first one, further assuring the government that his ministry is committed to deal with those behind the loss of lives and banditry. The CS has also warned leaders in the counties against peddling rumours of the operation being ineffective.
Up to now, we have received about 140 plus weapons of various types. I can confirm to the country that we will get to the root of this problem of heartless murders by bloodthirsty terrorists posing as cattle thieves. I can also confirm that the operation will succeed.
Cabinet secretaries will, commencing March 23rd, appear before the floor of the National Assembly to answer questions of members of Parliament for accountability purposes. The National Assembly amended Section 25A of the Standing Orders to have the Cabinet secretaries appear before the House every Wednesday afternoon. While moving the motion, Ugenya MP David Ochieng pointed out that since the 2010 Constitution, it has been a struggle to hold the executive to account.
Every Wednesday afternoon, we'll convert this house to a plenary where ministers answer questions. This house will be richer with all of us being able to hold the CSS to account instead of a few members of a committee being the only ones that are required to all the time hold the CSS to account.
Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah mentioned that the move is aimed at ensuring that the President William Ruto administration is accountable to the common wananchi on their mandate.
We now have a government that is not afraid to be accountable to the people's representatives and accountable to the people of Kenya. And that is why these proposals have support even from the executive, because we have an executive now that intends and has told the people of Kenya they intend to be accountable to the people of Kenya. And they have no fear to appear before the House and to answer to questions.
Samson Kuhora will serve in acting capacity as the National Hospital Insurance Fund CEO with effect from Tuesday next week. This comes as Peter Kamunyo's term ends on the 14th of next month. NHIF Board of Management Chairman Michael Kamau thanked Kamunyo for his service, further stating that the recruitment to fill all vacant positions will commence in due course. Kamunyo now joins an exodus of former President Uhuru Kenyatta's top government officials who have either left or resigned under unclear circumstances. Only last week, KRA Commissioner General James Githy left after 3 years with the taxman. This comes at a time when President William Ruto is replacing former regime officials with loyalists. Other new appointments have seen former Inspector General of Police Joseph Boynet made Deputy National Security Advisor and former Energy CS Monica Juma appointed Secretary of the National Security Council. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
Spice FM, Nakuru.
It's Friday and it's looking like it's going to be a happy Friday. No traffic issues to report. The only one is here. It's industrial area. This is heading into the CBD. But it's not so bad actually. This is just Jogoo Road coming into town. Makadara area is busy. Thika Superhighway has stretched just past survey into the KCA University. Kiambu Road is starting at around NYS and coming into, no, not NYS, of course, in Kiambu Road. Kiambu Road is starting near Muthaiga, joining the Thika Superhighway. That's where the issues are. Ngong Road, because of the lights, you'll find areas, for example, with the junction with Naivasha Road and James Kishuru will be busy, and that's what's happening there. Langata Road is smooth flowing. The bypasses are moving well. Nothing major to report. If you think there's anything that we ought to be telling people about, please let us know and tag us on Twitter at SpiceFMKE.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
All right, good morning and welcome to the second hour of the Situation Room. How you doing? Happy Friday. This is the 10th day of March 2023. And on this day, if you are an employer, you know that by yesterday you should have remitted to NSSF the contributions for your staff. If you're an employee, expect that your employer did that by yesterday. Now, the new remittances began this month. We have been having this conversation trying to understand, so what is it? What does it mean? Why do we need to get into new remittances with NSSF? This is, of course, the law that was passed in 2013, and then there was a whole court case, and there was a settlement now between the government, the labor union, the employers federation, and the National Social Security Fund, and they agreed, let's roll it out and see how it goes. Yeah. We are now joined by the acting managing trustee and CEO of the NSSF, David Mwangangi, to explain to us why we need to think about saving for retirement, and especially now these new requirements. David, good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Thank you very much for joining us. Happy Friday.
I'm also happy to be here this morning. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Yes.
You're going to explain to us very many things. We're keen to learn.
Yes.
But to welcome you, let CT give you the day's proverb.
Yes, this is the final proverb from the country of Rwanda. If your mouth turns into a knife, it will cut your lips.
If your mouth turns
into a
knife, it will cut your lips.
Puzzling, isn't it?
Yeah. When you think about it just directly, it's it's obvious. If the mouth becomes a knife, it'll cut your lips.
So the knife's cut.
But what is the proverb saying, David?
Well, what will come out from you, whatever you're going to do, there are consequences. I would put it that way. If there is any change, literally, in the mouth is a knife, definitely it will cut whoever is near you. So the tongue is the nearest where you are. So I think that's what he's trying to say. So anything that happens in your home, devil is going to affect your family. It's going to affect you. Anything happening in my organization, if it's not good, it's going to affect the workers. So, and well, the opposite is true also. I want to believe that if something good, comes out of the mouth, the tongue will also benefit. So that's what I'm thinking about when you talk about the mouth turning to a knife, to
and
cut
cutting
the
the
tongue.
lips.
The lips, because the lips are the nearest, and they are the ones major part of the mouth. Yeah, but you can tell us much more about that.
No, I cannot argue with your understanding of it.
Yes.
It makes perfect sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Thank you.
It makes a lot of sense. If something comes out of your organization, it affects the staff first before it affects the outsiders.
That's right.
If something good comes out of your organization, it affects the staff first before it affects the outsiders. So always work with knowing who are the likely beneficiaries and who are the likely victims of your actions. That's a good one, David.
Thank you. Thank you
That's a
very
good
much,
one.
Eric.
Now, this new NSSF contributions, are they in effect? Let's just start with the basics. Are they in effect?
Yes.
They are.
They are. As you have already mentioned that the Court of Appeal on 3rd February, after their act having been nullified, declared unconstitutional, the Court of Appeal made a judgment after listening to the both sides, the petitioners, the petitioners and the respondents, and declared that there was nothing wrong with the act. And it declared that it was in order. And the Board of Trustees immediately declared, we're starting to implement immediately. So immediately, employers, even ourselves and organizations, started to implement immediately. So it's operational. And we expected all the employers yesterday to be able to submit their contributions to NSSF. So it's operational. And I believe, including KTN, you were also deducted, and the money was submitted to NSSF yesterday.
By yesterday. By close of business.
Close of business yesterday. So that's what I believe. It's operational.
Okay.
It's operational.
Now, let's get to understand this. We'll talk about the actual figures. Number one, how many contributors do you currently have to the NSSF?
We have 2.6 million. Definitely there are others who have been, what has been up in our country, who are dormant, so it goes up to 2.7, but you find some have not been dormant, inactive, because probably they lost their jobs, or they are no longer working, they retired. But 2.6 are the ones who are active at the moment.
And by active here, we mean that they are making monthly contributions.
Yeah, regular contributions.
Regular contributions.
Yes, correct.
How much do these regular contributions amount to every month before the March contribution? If you look at January, February, December into last year.
You're talking about $1 billion or so. You talk about $1 billion or so able to collect. I'm talking about for the old rates. When people are contributing 400 shillings, we know there are some employers or some members who are contributing more than the 400 voluntarily, or some, when the act became operational in 2014, before it was nullified, there were some who are paying them more than the 400. For example, I like using my example. I have a worker at home who, since 2013, I've been deducting him 360 shillings and also matching his contribution of 360 to 720. That is since 2013. That worker now is almost about 100,000 Kenya shillings because of that contribution. Instead of 400, 700 every month. Yes, so you find there are some who have been contributing. So when you look at it, then you find about about 4 billion every month. Yes. Every quarter, about $1 billion.
$1 billion a month.
Yes, a quarter. Then you talk about 15, 16 billion in a year.
Okay. That's quite some amount.
Yes.
Now, the new contributions, of course, have increased. And then that's why we start talking about percentages of, it's based on the percentage of your income, is it not?
Yes.
Okay, explain that now to us. First of all, just the new contributions and how they are structured, and then how much you hope to be collecting monthly, quarterly, yearly.
Thank you, Eric. It's a very good question. How much? If you're earning less than 6,000 Kenya shillings, you'll be 6% of 6,000 Kenya shillings, which is 360. Now, your employer is required to match that 360 to come to 720 shillings. So if you are earning less than 6,000, and that's what we are calling Tier 1, basic social security. The basic social security that must go to NSSF. Everyone must contribute 720 Kenya shillings, which goes to NSSF. Definitely if you earn slightly less than 6,000, when you calculate, it will slightly be less than the 720. Because in case, but we expect everyone earns. In 2013, the 6,000 was like the minimum wage at that time, but now it's gone up. So we don't expect anyone earning less than, not unless you are what do you call that, temporary. You worked for only less than a month, very few days. Very few days as a casual, and therefore it could not amount up to 6,000, and then you are deducted. So it could be less than the 720.
Okay.
But we expect everyone is earning, more than the 6,000. So if you earn more than 6,000, up to 18,000 Kenya shillings, so the difference between 6 and 18,000, 6% of that comes to 720, and then the employer will match the same 720 to come to 1440. So that is what we call Tier 2. Yeah. Now, your employer will match that another 1080. Not in Tier 2, not 1080. I say it is the total is 1440.
Yes.
So the employer 720.
And you 720.
720.
Yes.
It comes to 1440. That's what we call Tier 2. So when you add 720 plus 1440, it comes to 2,160 Kenya shillings.
Yes.
So that is a total money you are supposed to submit to NSSF.
That is if you're earning up to 18,000.
Up to 18,000 Kenya shillings. So the rest of the money, if you earn more than 18,000, you don't pay NSSF. You don't pay NSSF. So it's up to a maximum of 18,000. But you are welcome, Eric, and the listeners this morning. You can pay more. You can call it voluntary contributions, whatever amount you are welcome to contribute to NSSF. But according to the law, your salary up to a maximum of 18,000 Kenya shillings. Tier 1, 720. Tier 2, 1440. Now, the law provides that if you have another pension scheme like many organizations do have, then you can apply to RBA to be allowed to opt out of NSSF Tier 2 amount. But Tier 1 must go to NSSF. So basically, those are the figures.
Okay. So if your employer has another scheme, a pension scheme,
that's right,
they must apply to NSSF to be exempted.
Or Retirement Benefits Authority.
To RBA.
To RBA. They are the ones who are supposed to be able to check whether you are compliant, everything is okay, you qualify to opt out, to be paying Tier 2 to your pension scheme.
Okay.
Yes.
But does the law say that this 1440 is still a must?
It's a must. It's a must. It's a must.
So it's a must.
It's a must.
As long as you're earning anything up to 18,000 shillings a month, you must have a deduction of 2,160.
Correct.
From your pay slip.
From the pay slip, you earn more than 6.
The employer must take 720 to NSSF.
Yes.
And the employer can apply to RBA to have 1440 taken to the employer's benefit scheme.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
That's clear.
Why is it that you limit it to 18,000?
Why the limit? I said this law came to effect. It was ascended in December 2013.
Yes.
And when it was ascended 2013, it became operational from January 2014.
Okay.
Now, that time, because we didn't want, because this one affects the bottom line of a company. You as an employer, you're going to be affected because it increases your operating costs. And therefore, the drafters of this law and NSSF and the government and the stakeholders knew that it will affect us as employers. And therefore, that's the reason why it was capped, so that it does not affect the employer so much. Even the worker is also affected when it's deducted. And therefore, we wanted just to gradually, increase it, depending on the, from year to year. In fact, year 1, so the figures we are talking about were for year 1. Then year 2, it was to increase, year 3 and year 4. But where we are, listeners, is that we have spoken to ourselves. The board has spoken to year 1. So that's what we are talking about year 1. They are going to speak about what is going to happen year 2. So as we stand now, what we know and we are telling listeners and all of Kenyans is that the maximum 18,000, so that because that's manageable. Definitely the cost of living has gone up, the minimum wage has also gone up, and therefore you find now things are quite different. But we say let's start in a small way so that every Kenyan will be a bit comfortable. We don't want to hit so hard.
You know why I ask is because I'm looking at people who work in the public service.
Yes.
I'm looking at people who work in the Teachers Service Commission.
Yes.
And I'm just looking at people who are employed generally.
Yes.
There has been a statutory deduction to NSSF for the longest time.
Yes.
Says that was a very small amount. I think it was 200, 220.
Yeah, 200.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So are you saying that deduction is no longer going to be there?
It's what has changed.
It is now 720.
Yeah, it is now. It is moved from my employer and deducting me 200. He matches with another 200. So instead of the 200 now, you'll be deducting me 360 for Tier 1.
Yes.
And you match the 360 for Tier 2.
And that is for all employers.
You match the 360.
For the first 6,000.
For the first 6,000. An amount above 6,000 to 18, you will deduct me 720. You match with another 720 to 1440 to 2,160. So that's the amount being deducted. So the 200 from me and the employer will no longer be there. It has been enhanced.
So what it means is if someone then earns more than 18,000, they're still going to pay 1440.
For Tier 2. In total, 2,160.
So the Tier 1 is capped, but then everybody else from 6,000 essentially onwards is now in Tier 2.
In Tier 2.
So even if you earn $1 million shillings, you are in Tier 2.
Yeah.
Both. You pay both. Tier 1 you pay and Tier 2. But up to a maximum of
18,000.
18,000 maximum. Not more than that. Will not touch your millions. Yes, we'll leave that out.
And I want to come back into this Tier 2 because Tier 2 is then you have an option of not remitting it to NSSF.
Correct.
You can take it to a private pension scheme.
Correct.
And this is if your employer has another pension scheme.
Another pension scheme that qualifies under the requirements of retirement benefit scheme.
What if I, as an employee, I'm a member of another pension scheme, which is not supported by the employer?
But you are on private.
Yes. I joined another pension scheme. that is not run by the employer?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. You have your own private pension scheme. What happens to you? Do you have to contribute the other amount?
Yep.
Because here it's talking about the employer applying, not to yourself.
Yep.
So I think that's something to look at. Something to look at. But the thing stand by is your employer who has another pension scheme.
You have joined a pension scheme
on your own.
On your own.
Yes.
And you're contributing to it.
Yes.
And say your employer has a pension scheme.
Yes.
And the employer has also been contributing to that, but you want to maybe opt out of one.
You want to opt out of one?
Yeah, but I want to still contribute the 1,440 towards a pension.
Yeah,
of my choosing,
of your choice. For the employer, I don't think there is an option because this is your employer and he's the one responsible. He's supposed to deduct, and because he's the one responsible, he knows that you are contributing.
Yeah.
Because once you say you want to opt out from the employer to your own, he may not know what's happening, and therefore, I think that's when you have no option. But I think the only option maybe if you had another private one quietly. Maybe that one to ensure if you want to contribute to one so that you stick so that the employer knows. And then that makes it easier because it's a law. It's a law because if you contribute outside there, the employer may not be aware, and he's supposed to match. How will he match? He doesn't have the information. So you must be done through the payroll so that he deducts you and he matches that. So if you want to move out, I don't think that will be acceptable.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
The employer can only match to a pension scheme that he's contributing to.
Yes. Yeah, he can match where he's contributing to, and it's a law. So therefore, he's compelled, and therefore he will have to deduct you and pay his own. Okay. So that to that pension scheme, whether the ones he has set up or to NSSF.
Okay.
Because you can decide you are not opting out, or you are Tier 1, Tier 2 goes to NSSF. Yes.
From your projections, looking at the 2.6 million active NSSF contributors, where previously you were looking at making about 4 billion shillings a quarter, with the enhanced scheme, how much are you looking at receiving, say, monthly and quarterly?
Definitely, normally when you start implementing something, you expect the uptake to be not very high. But the years move on, there will be changes. But also you are aware around also again the issue about opting out. We may not know who is going to opt out at the end of the day.
Well,
so
at least you know.
But at least
that's
we are talking
one.
about Tier 1. You talk about 16 billion. So we expect that to more than double that amount, from the 16 to more than 30 billion. That is in a year.
Yeah.
So it more than double. When
So
you look
basically
around from 400 to 720, it's more than doubles.
What we are saying is, just looking at Tier 1, NSSF is likely now to start receiving it. You've been receiving about 16 billion shillings a year. You're jumping to at least 32 billion shillings a year.
Yes, you expect more than
And
that.
if we say that, say, 50% of the contributors remain in Tier 2, another extra. So NSSF is basically moving from a 16 billion shilling annual income to an over 50 billion shilling annual income.
Contributions, they're not income.
Let's call it contributions.
Yes, they are contributions because they are members'
Annual
funds.
receipts.
Yes,
Right?
yes. They are from contributions. from
You'll be
members.
receiving about over 50 billion shillings.
Yes.
From an organization that has perennially been receiving less than half of that.
Yes.
Now, capacity to absorb this money comes in. Do you have capacity to actually start receiving 50 billion shillings plus a year?
Yes, we do have the capacity.
And to safeguard that as our savings?
We have the capacity to do that. Our system, we are ready because this is something that we've been waiting for many years. And for your information, when we receive these monies, we take this money to invest. We don't keep that money. So I seen every month where the money comes in, we take this money to fund managers to invest. And they'll be able to invest maybe in Nairobi Stock Exchange. They'll be able to invest in government paper. At the moment, over 50% of our investments are in government paper. So as the money comes in, we mob out. We don't keep any monies as NSSF. We don't. So we send
currently,
it to
over 50% of your money is supporting the government in development. By lending directly to the government. The other 50%, where does it go?
Well, the others are invested in different areas. I say it in the money market, in the stock exchange or quoted equities, you have about 22% of that. Then you have in properties.
Yeah.
You have in properties.
Yeah.
So
in real estate, you have about another
and then
20%?
real estate. You have real estate. You have Nairobi Stock Exchange, investment in premier companies in this organization.
Yeah.
You talk about the East African breweries, you talk about Safaricom, you talk about KCB, we'll put our monies. So that money is in those areas. And therefore, when it comes, we give it out for investment.
Yeah. Okay. The reason I was asking about capacity is, you already in the Nairobi Securities Exchange, NSSF is one of the biggest players. In fact,
that's right.
In fact, if I'm not wrong, you're the biggest player in the Nairobi Securities Exchange.
Yeah, we are a major player.
All right. Now increase that by like 2. No, this is over 100%.
Yes.
You basically run the Nairobi Securities Exchange.
Yes.
Of course, there's a restriction of how much you can put into equities, how much you can put into real estate, how much you're putting into government paper.
That's right.
But there is still a big muscle.
Yes.
Okay.
But definitely...
Are you seeing where I'm going, City?
I think Mwangangi knows where you're going, so let's let him respond, because he's ready to respond to the question that you haven't asked.
I said we have the capacity. And what I'm saying, what is going to happen is that we have to look out. Which other places are we able to invest? We don't restrict ourselves to Kenya here, because the East African region is a big market also now. Outside East Africa, those are other places. So they don't restrict ourselves to Kenya only. We must be able to look out.
Does the law allow you to invest outside the country?
Yes, we are supposed to offshore. We're supposed to do that, but we haven't done that.
Is there a limit as to what the percentage that you can invest outside the country?
Oh, yes, there are also limits.
There's a cap.
Yeah, there's also capping. Or where we're investing, there are all cappings. But those can also still be looked at.
Okay.
In case we realize then the market is smaller. Yes. I think this is something we can engage the Retirement Benefits Authority and the Board of Trustees to be able to expand that, where we can be able to invest. But at the moment, mostly we've been focusing here in Kenya.
Let me ask a direct question.
Yes.
The Tanzania economy is booming and growing faster than ours.
Yes.
Are we investing in Tanzania?
No.
Have we thought of investing in Tanzania?
We have thought. In fact, investing in the region, whether Tanzania, whether Kenya, Uganda and other countries, Rwanda, yes, we have.
I'm actually focusing on Tanzania because the things that the Tanzanians are doing, they are industrializing as we watch.
Yes.
They are doing things that we've talked about for decades, again, as we watch.
Yes.
So that is clearly an economy that is taking off.
Yes.
And thinking as a layman, that would be perhaps a good venue to invest, and it would be the right time to invest, so that as it grows, so does your money.
That's right.
Yes.
And that's where we talk about looking out.
Now, question number one, that I always have question one, and then there's an appendage to it. 1B. When the fund we allocate to various investment agencies come back, what percentage of this does the pensioner or the person who contributes to the scheme benefit? Let's say this money that I've been investing for the last X number of years.
Yes.
Let's say after 10 years, 20 years, my saving is 100,000.
Yes.
Do I just get the net of what I have saved, or does NSSF give me an interest on what I have been putting in?
Thank you. Very good question. Definitely, we talked about investment. And when you talk about investment, definitely we talk about rate of return. We must be able to give you something. The money should not be idle. And that's why we are there. As an organization, our mandate is to register members. We register members, we collect contributions, and invest those contributions. Yes, so when we invest, we should be able to give you a return. In 2020-2021, we declared a 10% interest rate on your contributions. So we have been giving interest to our members over the years. Over the years, we've been giving, and that's why I'm saying we declare 10% interest on members' funds in 2020-2021. Yes, so we do give interest.
We take a break. We continue the conversation. An interesting one this morning with the acting managing trustee and CEO of the NSSF, David Mwangangi. He's here with us in the studio to explain to us new NSSF contribution scheme is in effect starting this month. Yesterday was the deadline for remittances to the NSSF. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean to the institution, the NSSF itself? What does that mean to the country? What does that mean to you as a contributor? And we are talking about it being statutory, especially for those ones who are formally employed. We'll also talk about those who would like to join the scheme from the informal sector. If you are just an individual contributor and you're thinking, okay, I'd like to be putting in some at least 720 towards my retirement. How can I join NSSF? How can I be checking how my money is doing within NSSF? Those are the conversations to continue coming up shortly at 24 minutes to 8. If you're thinking of flying, and we've been talking about this every single morning, think of flying Emirates. I'm not going to ask you, David, whether you fly Emirates. I know you do, but I'm not going to put you on the spot on whether you fly first class or business, because that will bring a whole new conversation. But, at that moment when you retire and you have, been working, you're an economist, so you think about planning and you have
correct.
Or you're flying in your own private capacity, taking your family out on holiday somewhere outside the country. Think of flying business or first class in Emirates. If you fly business, from the moment you check in, how they treat you, welcoming you onto the flight with a drink, giving you a flatbed where you have a gourmet cuisine, lunches and dinners are served, you feel like you're basically in a 5-star hotel, but you're flying. Fly better with Emirates.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
If you go out of this country and come back the same person, then you have a problem. Buy land, 1 million. Put it there for 5 years. What's the purpose?
It'll have increased in value.
No, that's the thing. That's darkness. That's an eclipse. You don't do that.
I hope you don't believe that a hustler is a poor person, or that all hustlers are poor. I've seen that conversation.
Tell us, who is that?
So who's a hustler? Hustler is a person who is making a living through hard work.
Corruption in Kenya is a political accusation. The people who are actually corrupt are not pointed fingers at.
Kenya is not free. Kenya imeshikwa na mateka. It's under siege.
Have you seen that lodge on Nyeri Road? Very high fence. You can't even
windows
sleep inside.
Up near the ceiling.
Yes. And if you walk there at midnight, you see bats the size of cows.
And when it rains, it doesn't rain on that building.
Yes.
When you're at All Saints and it's raining, it doesn't rain on that building.
The things people will believe.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
A sunny morning in Nairobi at 17 degrees. A sunny day in Mombasa as well. Current temperatures at 25 degrees. Malindi sunny at 26. Kisumu rain has gotten to Kisumu. 21 degrees. Mostly sunny morning in Nyeri at 13. Nakuru sunny at 15. Kakamega mostly cloudy at 17. Eldoret sunny at 13. Dar es Salaam sunny at 27. Kampala mostly cloudy morning at 19. Lagos mostly cloudy at 32. Kinshasa cloudy at 25. Johannesburg sunny at 14. Beijing sunny at 22. London is a cloudy morning at 8. New York, it's clear skies tonight at 3. They'll work up to degrees of 10. And then it'll go to freezing point, 0 degrees. Paris, light rain at 9 this morning. Highs of 10 and lows of 2. So there was an accident this morning near Kino. A matatu en route to Nairobi rammed on a stationary matatu bus, killing people. There, fatalities have been reported on this one. It's looking really, really bad. And this is that area, that road that we keep talking about every morning on this show. This is the section between ABC Place and Rironi. That road, no markings, no lighting. It's still a construction site. It's a
construction site for quite a while.
Yep.
Yes.
For many, many years, and no markings at all. No pedestrian crossing places. People are going to school. No matatu stages. That's why a matatu was in the middle of the road, and a Nissan comes and rams into it. It's horrible. So this is the one thing that we are talking about. We are reporting this morning, a horrible accident on that section of the road. Other roads coming into town, the usual ones. Thika Road, it goes up to KCA University, of course up to Muthaiga. Kiambu Road, just around Muthaiga. Jogoo Road is moving the way it normally does. The issues are at near Hamza. Nothing major to report. Anything else that you'd like us to talk about and alert everybody, please let us know. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.
With the NSSF acting managing trustee and CEO David Mwangangi. He's here with us to tell us about NSSF and the contributions. Let's start with the first one. Those who are formally employed are netted because these are statutory contributions. Every registered employer must contribute for their employee.
Yes.
At least tier 1 of the 720 to NSSF,
right.
Tier 2 of 1,440 if they have not been authorized by the Retirement Benefits Authority to direct it elsewhere, they'll bring it to NSSF.
Yes.
How about those who are not in formal employment?
Thank you. Very good question. I want first to go back to the basics.
Okay.
Why the Act? Because that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Why the Act came is because our culture of savings is supposed to enhance savings in the country. And once we increase our savings, we have more money within our country for development. Some of the countries you've just mentioned this morning, you will find that because of the citizen savings, they are able to fund in more infrastructure within the country. So one was to increase savings within the country. The other very important reason why we have the Act is because we want to enhance the benefits that you get after retirement. Because many of us, the contributions have been little.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a pension scheme, and therefore, when we retire, what we call poverty in old age comes in, because now I don't have energy to be able to work and the number to support me. So you find you were living very nice life when you were working, but now you've gone into poverty. But once you're able to increase, the savings, at the end of the day, the benefits will be more. So we want people to retire with dignity. And that's why the increased rates are there. So that once people retire, they are not able to work, they retire with dignity. In fact, according to the standards, at least you should be able to get back 40% of what you are earning during your working life. So if you are earning 100,000 every month, when I retire, I should have at least 40,000 every month. So we are trying to increase the benefits, to increase the pension, at least 40% according to ILO standards. Now, the second thing, very important again, is that we want to enhance coverage. There are many Kenyans that are left out. The informal sector, what we are asking. Now, the Act covers them. They need also to be able to save for their retirement so that they can be able to retire with dignity. And therefore, the informal sector, the mama boga, the matatu operators, the boda-bodas, all Kenyans, even when you are a farmer, you are welcome to save. We have a product called Abahaba. In this Abahaba product, you encourage you to save 25 shillings every day. So 25 shillings times 30 days in a month, you're talking about 25 times 3, that comes to 750.
Yes.
750 Kenya shillings. So you're able to save 750 Kenya shillings for yourself as an informal sector operator, as a mama boga.
Every month.
Every month. So all Kenyans, anybody in Kenya is supposed to save.
How do you...
And now, the only person who is exempted by the act is when you are a foreigner and you are here for a short period, less than 3 years. You come to Kenya, but you don't stay longer than that. You are exempted. But all the other Kenyans are supposed to save with NSSF. Mama bogas are supposed to save with NSSF. Now, how then do you go about it? How do you go about it? I think that's the other question you were asking.
Yes.
Now we using technology to be able to save, to be able to. You don't have to come to NSSF as a mama boga. We have a USSD which you can use. In fact, even first to register. You can register star 303 star 303 ash. You start from there, whatever you want. You can register using that USSD.
Star 303 hash.
Yes. If, for example, you have forgotten your NSSF number, you can also use that. Star 303 star 55 ash to find out what is your NSSF number. You can also use that to check your statement. You can use that to check your statement.
The same 303
yes.
star 55 hash.
No, 55 is of the ID.
It's just to find out your number.
Star 303 hash.
If I do star 303 hash, let me just give you what it brings me. A suite of services. Number 1, member services. Number 2, partnerships. Number 3, tenant purchase scheme. Number 4, validate compliance certificate. Number 5, check your NSSF number.
Yes, that it will show you. The other one, another interactive one, we have a WhatsApp number.
This one does not. So is member services where I register?
Yes, that's the member services.
If I do member services, I do 1. It tells me enter national ID number. Let's see if it knows my ID. I have entered. Enter your year of birth. Okay, so it takes me through.
Yes, it's an area of takes you through that.
So this is how I register now.
That you register with that.
Right.
Now, the other one you can check, I say it a WhatsApp number, which is interactive, 0704 303 303. 0704 303 303. It's a WhatsApp number.
You can't call this.
Yes, you just go to WhatsApp and then you are able to interact with NSF. You say I, then it asks you what do you want, what services do you want. So again, you can get also your statement.
Okay.
You can get your statement. Definitely, you talked about NSF mini application on your mobile app. You can also be able to use that to download. So using that, you can be able to register, you can be able to check your NSSF number, you can be able to check your statement, among other services.
You said that one can contribute daily, the 25 shillings per day.
Yes.
So what is it that you're supposed to do? Like at the end of every day, you remit this via M-Pesa?
Yes.
Or via Airtel Money?
Yes.
So 25 shillings, is that a minimum or is that a maximum?
It's a minimum.
It's a minimum. Of 25 bob, eh?
Of 25 bob.
Or 750 a month.
750 a month.
Now, NSSF usually has penalties for late payment, all those things. So if I'm a voluntary contributor, at what point do penalties and all those...
No, they don't come in. It will reflect in the system as a voluntary contributor.
Okay.
And the system will recognize that and it will not penalize you.
So if I'm late, if I don't have money at the end of this month, I've not contributed my 750, it's okay.
It's okay.
When I get money, I can now put 1,000.
Yes.
Can I be both? Can I be a voluntary contributor
plus
Oh yes, you
formal
can.
contribution.
You can. I have done that also myself. You looked at my statement. It has also voluntary contributions, so you can have all that. The employer deducts you, and you also send your voluntarily. You can use if you want to pay NSSF. We have a M-Pesa number 33 33 00 33 33 00. Using that M-Pesa, you can be able to pay. They will need to ask you your account. Your account is your NSSF number. And that's the reason I told you. The first thing is star 303 star
5 hash
55 hash. You can now get your NSSF number. And then you can use that as an account. So once you go to the M-Pesa paying bill number 33 then that account you can be able to pay. And it will give you a message that and you have received the money. NSSF will bring you back a message saying that you're paid.
Okay.
And then using again that you can check the system, the statement, how does it look like? Yes.
With the other retirement benefit schemes, I am able to say, get some rebates, I'm able to get a mortgage, I'm able to get other benefits as I still continue contributing, looking towards retirement. NSSF?
At the moment, that's no. But under the Abahaba product, once we are fully implementing the Act and people are contributing regularly, it allows you to be able to get part of your savings for some of those investments. After 5 years or 10 years, you want to get some money for maybe to buy a house, a mortgage, whatever it is, you can be able to get part of that money. And the reason is that we want to encourage. You remember many of our young people, when you tell them about retirement, I'm 18, I'm 25, I've started working, telling them, you're going to get your money at 60 years, it doesn't make sense. And therefore, to encourage many, that's why we have that product. That's why we have that product called Ababa. You can get your money, half of the money, within after 5 years. Now, so currently the way things have been, because this has just been a provident fund, you mostly a lump sum at the end of your retirement, whether at 50 or 55 or 60 years, whatever time you are paid, is just a lump sum payment. Now, under the new Act, it is supposed to come up with other new products.
Has it come up with new product?
The product, we now started developing them.
Okay.
An employment benefit, maternity benefit. Now it's just now rolling out the Act. Currently, we have several products. The one is age benefit. So when you work you retire at 60 years, you have a letter of retirement, you apply, you are paid. That's what we call age benefit. If you leave earlier at 50 years, you can also apply and be paid your money at 50 years. Well, we call that withdrawal benefit. And then if you are leaving this country, we have what we call a migrant benefit. So you are migrating from Kenya and you don't want to continue, we are able to pay you. If you become incapacitated, you become sick, you cannot able to work again, you can also be paid your money. And well, we have also something little we give out called funeral grant. When a member passes away, we give something little to tell your family members,
to the registered beneficiary, to the registered next of kin.
To the next of kin.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the Act, we are talking about 10,000. We'll be able to give you 10,000. To support the family in burying you. So we expect to come with more products.
10,000. Want to go very far to help with the funeral expenses. Make it 100,000.
Make it 100,000.
Yes, 10,000 will not.
To do that, we have to go and do the Act.
No. These are some of the products.
Yes.
Envisaged.
10,000.
Well, it was something just to tell you, Paul. But once the fund becomes, we are able to enlarges, when the cake is big, you find you can be able to offer many more products.
Mungangi.
Yes.
NSSF has a massive cake. Okay? It's not a huge cake, it's massive.
It's massive.
It is massive. And when products of this nature are rolled out,
yes,
I'm listening to the products and I'm seeing NSSF have thought through what it is that contributing members would desire.
That's right.
So these products make it attractive. The membership that you're looking for will be attracted when they look at the things that bother people on a daily basis and the things that, what do Kenyans contribute to most socially? It's these things.
Yes, burial.
Illnesses, burial. So when I talked about 100,000, I was just alerting you to people need to feel that there is money that can be given that will move that process forward in a decent way. That's
right.
it.
Yes.
There's some amount you might as well not give because it's not even a drop.
And definitely, by the way, you don't contribute for it.
Yes.
You're just being a member.
Yes.
And then apart from the other products, other benefits that you acquire, when I pass away, my family is just given something. It's not a separate, you contribute for it. It comes from the bigger pot, as we are saying, to be able to tell you thank you. But I hear you. Once we are fully implemented and after some years, you can be able to look back at these benefits.
You see why I
because you
this?
Don't have a separate contribution. See how it can be enhanced.
You have competition, Bwana Mwangangi.
Yes.
Your competition is insurance companies.
That's right.
Now, some of the things we mentioned, they offer.
They are offering those extras.
Yes. They do. And they also give you insurance.
That's
the things that you mentioned are insured.
Yes.
An accident, they insure it. And you're told upfront, this is what you can get.
You can benefit.
In the course of, should you lose a limb, should you be incapacitated, percentages go up depending on your level of incapacitation.
Yes.
And that is irrespective of how long you've saved. So long as you've saved beyond 6 months, a year, whatever they stipulate, these are the things that they tell you. So I'm simply saying, given the massive size that you people are, you're not an insurance company. But who says you cannot work with an insurance company to provide these services? Who says?
Sure, we can.
Yes, you can.
Yes, we can. Yes. So we will look at it. Okay. Let's roll out. And Kenyans, please save with us the new rates. And once you're going to do this, we'll be able to roll out many more products and attractive products.
Yes.
If you find out today, Bwana Mwangangi, that your employer of the last 2 employers ago were not contributing to NSSF, what do? You were deducted, but they were not contributing. You moved from that employment to somebody else, and now in fact you're in the third one. But now you realize,
there's no evidence of them having remitted the money to NSSF.
Yes. How do you address all these issues?
Thank you very much. Yes, this thing happens. It happens, Eric. And when you realize that they didn't submit, you need to let us know. If you are here in Nairobi, we have several branches. The nearest where we are near CMC or near Toyota Kenya, we have an office there, a branch. We call it Industrial Area Branch. We have another one in community where NSSF is, Hill Branch. We have another one in Bruce House, another branch. You have another one in Isili, in Burumburu and the Westlands. So you need to report to share with us that they have not been contributing. NSSF will be able to take action. Normally it does compliance. It visits these employers on a regular basis to be able to assess whether these employers they are complying. But sometimes when you have a big organization, you may find we may not have gotten it. But when you give us the information, we'll follow them up and we'll ensure that your money is paid. Normally they also, that's why it's compulsory, so they can also take you to court. Normally they take employers to court who have not been complying, because that's a very serious offense. Deducting members, workers' funds, monies, contributions that they are not submitted is an offense.
2 questions that are coming in. One is from Winnie Talam, who says that NSSF should provide yearly statements to their members without the member having to request. Like I should be receiving every end of year, I should receive, a statement of account telling me this is how my contributions have been doing, this is how much interest they've earned, like in the other pension scheme.
Thank you. That's a very good question. And I say it, you can check yourself every day. You can check because that's provided for. But what you're saying is good. We'll be moving there to be giving you before even you ask. Because some Kenyans are very busy. And therefore going back, you may find it's a job you're going to do. So we'll be moving to that direction. We should be giving you regular statements to be able to see without even asking.
Okay.
So that when you need it, you go back and check. Did I get this statement? Yes, like the other financial institutions do. Thank you.
Keep career, and this one is now to your technical team, of course, not to you directly.
Yes.
They're saying that they're trying to do *303 *1 hash to query for their statement. It says the service is having technical problems.
Is there one to this thing? I thought it was 303 hash.
*303 hash.
Yes.
Yes.
Then you can do *303 *1 hash. Or *555 hash. So when it says when he's going to query for statements, he's not able to.
Yeah, probably there may be a technical problem. There may be power outage, and they see power outage, which I don't know now as I sit here.
Your
it can affect our system.
Your technical people are watching.
Yeah, yes, I believe you can check and tell us why we are not able to go through that USSD to give us information.
Asante.
Yes, thank you.
David, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
David Mwangangi is the acting managing trustee and CEO at the NSSF. He's been telling us about the new NSSF contributions and how they'll benefit us. Time for the news, 8 a.m. Good morning.
Governor Simba Arati has made the revelations after receiving a report on the pending bills. The report launched 3 months ago after a task force was mandated to look into 1.6 billion shillings pending bills owed by the Kisii County government, raised questions on the debt owed to contractors in the 2013, 2014 and 2021-2022 financial years. Out of the 1.6 billion pending bills accrued over the last 10 years, only 235 million shillings will be processed according to the task force. Aaron Nyakundi is the chairman of the task force on pending bills.
After careful scrutiny, sometimes we have to do 5 times. This committee could only come up with bills which are properly due at 235 million shillings. And even those bills, there are some small housekeeping which will have to be done before the payment is done. For example, where mobile phones have been bought for staff, or laptops which appear to be procured every year, the auditors need to go back to the offices, conduct an audit, confirm that those laptops and those phones are still within the county before the payment is released.
Governor Arati says the county government will clean up its pending bills and clear the amount in due process. This comes as the Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakongo, had in February flagged all counties of pending bills amounting to 161.36 billion shillings.
Bwana Chairman, mambo ya msamaha wache ikuwe mambo ya Mungu peke yake. Sisi kazi yetu kupeleka watu mbele ya sheria, sheria ipambane na wao. Kwa sababu hakuna malaika atashuka kutoka mbinguni. Watu wamekufa kwa sababu hawana madawa hospitalini. Kando na haya, hizi ni pesa ambazo zingelipwa. Lakini pia nimesema pesa iliyolipwa miaka 5 iliyopita, lazima tujue ni nani alilipa, ni nini ililipwa.
Samson Kuhora will serve in acting capacity as the National Hospital Insurance Fund CEO with effect from Tuesday next week. This comes as Peter Kamunyo's term ends on the 14th of next month. NHIF Board of Management Chairman Michael Kamau thanked Kamunyo for his service, further stating the recruitment to fill all vacant positions will commence in due course. Kamunyo now joins an exodus of former President Uhuru Kenyatta's top government officials who have either left or resigned under unclear circumstances. Cabinet secretaries will brace themselves from March 23rd this month to appear before the floor of the National Assembly and answer questions of members of Parliament for accountability purpose. The National Assembly amended Section 25A of the Standing Orders to have the secretaries appear before the House every Wednesday afternoon. While moving the motion, Ugenya MP David Ochieng pointed out that since the 2010 Constitution, it has been a struggle to hold the executive to account.
Every Wednesday afternoon, we'll convert this House to a plenary where ministers answer questions. This House will be richer with all of us being able to hold the CSS to account instead of a few members of a committee being the only ones that are required to all the time hold the CSS to account.
Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah mentioned that the move is aimed at ensuring that the President William Ruto administration is accountable to the common wananchi on their mandate.
We now have a government that is not afraid to be accountable to the people's representatives and accountable to the people of Kenya. And that is why these proposals have support even from the executive, because we have an executive now that intends and has told the people of Kenya they intend to be accountable to the people of Kenya. And they have no fear to appear before the House and to answer to questions.
And in the international scene, a U.S. investment firm has proposed to stop a controversial oil auction in DR Congo's rainforests, bidding to exploit carbon credits instead of drilling in the environmentally sensitive areas. In July, the Democratic Republic of Congo opened bidding for 27 oil blocks, arguing that exploiting its fossil resources was an economic imperative for the impoverished Central African country. Green groups have warned of dire consequences should the oil industry move in. The danger is considered particularly acute in the central Congo Basin peatlands, which researchers estimate store around 30 billion tons of carbon. That's the Newswire. I'm La Obaga.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
Again, just highlighting the issue of what we've seen this morning on this road between Rironi and ABC Place. There was a bad accident involving a Nissan that was coming towards Nairobi and a matatu that was on the stage, just on the side of the road, actually, not on the stage. There are no stages. Nissan rammed onto that matatu, and we are hearing reports of serious injuries and possible fatalities. It's a bad one. It's a bad one. Just be careful on that road. And yes, the message is to the Kenya National Highways Authority. Just do the thing that ought to be done on that road. Tafadhali. Okay, what's happening on Thika Superhighway? It's stretched to KCA University. It's improving, but be patient. At least it's not as bad as it has been in other mornings at such a time. Jogoo Road heading towards town, not so bad after Hamza, and then you get into Landis Road as you get to the junction with Haile Selassie. That's when it becomes busy. Ngong Road, only busy at junction, and then it flows. Langata Road, not bad at all today. Thika Superhighway, we've talked about that. Mombasa Road is also not so bad. Anything else that we can talk about, let us know. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room.
7 minutes.
The only way to start your day.
Thank you very much for keeping it locked. Well, if you've got any questions to NSSF, like you've heard, you can go on to WhatsApp 0704 303 303. That's 0704 303 303. You can ask all your questions and they should be able to respond to you on that. Or you'd like to query some things, just do *303*. They will tell you. They'll give you the prompts that guide you on what you want to know. Let's switch the conversation now, bring it to governance and looking at national and county governance and national and county politics. We are joined by the MP for Dagoretti North Constituency, Beatrice Elachi. Good morning.
Good morning, Eric. How are you?
Very well.
Where's my sister?
Your sister is watching us from the comfort of her bed. She is relaxing.
That I enjoy. It is International Women's Day. I wish her well within this week.
Yeah, Ndu, where would you enjoy? That's how you've chosen to celebrate your International Women's Week. So she's resting. She needed to recharge her batteries.
True.
It's always important.
Very important.
Once in a while. You know, the other day I was having a conversation with somebody. And they were asking, which constituency is this? I was like, this is Dagoretti North. Do you know where we were? At the beginning of Uhuru Park.
Yeah.
And I was like, that constituency begins here. It goes all the way into Kileleshwa, into Kilimani, into Dagoretti.
All the way to Wayaki Way, up Consolata, up to Kianda School. And then it gives a curve coming inside again to Naivasha Road.
So one of the outer boundaries is Naivasha Road.
Yes, and near Thiru, just the river, Nairobi River, where it is somewhere around there. Yeah.
And then the other one is Uhuru Highway and Wayakiwe.
And then Ngong
Chiromo.
Road. Yes, and Ngong Road. Yes.
It's a huge constituency.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very big constituency.
You do not belong to that constituency?
Of course.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Yeah, most of you.
Mongelesha vizuri. This is a voter.
A very serious voter who is there now to ask me, what have you done so far?
Exactly.
Where are we now? What are we doing? And those are the answers I should be giving.
So let's start.
Oh, good.
What have you done so far? Since the people of Dagoretti North took you to Parliament and you became a member of the National Assembly, what have you been doing? That's the topic for today. Protests and prayers. Is this what Kenyans were voting for when they went to the polls on August 9th?
Eric, hey. Okay. Protest and prayers. Let me start with what I've been doing.
Yeah.
So, first of all, to really appreciate the people of Dagoretti North, those who are in the room and those who are outside. But to say, I think I've focused so much on education, since it's my very key pillar. And we started with the primary schools, knowing very well we have very few of them. But more importantly, trying to look for partners who can support me in terms of giving lunches so that you retain kids in school, which we have achieved. At least Katina Primary, we have a partner who is really supporting us. Kids are able to have some lunch. Kawangware Primary, the same, reducing the amounts of what parents give, but paying something small, and they are able also to get lunch. We are still pushing Muslim Primary, and looking at Kilimani, where we have also a very special unit of special kids, where we are now trying to see how we can support them and push. We will be giving tomorrow at least bursaries to 5,500 kids who are in high school, and then we'll come and finalize with the university students, who you know are so many because they are definitely in my constituency. But more importantly, also following up with teachers to see how we can now improve grades. One of the biggest challenges that we face every time, and it's something as a country we need to really think through, is looking at the grades of our kids. And you find many of them, they have a challenge of really performing. And so it's something we have to work around with teachers. Some are doing very well, some are not doing so well. And that is why the TVETs are very critical in Kenya. Because when you have such huge students being left behind and with no skill or nothing, then you find yourself with a huge population, 70% of your young people wondering what to do also. So that is one of the things we've been following through. And now we want to go now to trade and say, start with the women who have always woken up, and you'll find them on the streets. One walking with a bucket of melon, another one with maize, and many others, and see how we work through. One of the things I would wish to ask the governor is, how do we tidy up? I know as many of the constituencies have been wondering, why is it that we just leave things? Like, for example, in Lavington, when you walk in, you'll find our women. Yes, they are doing trade, but we need to support them to tidy up the place, get good stalls that they can just, we know they are not permanent, but they are better of being clean and a place where everyone will appreciate, yes, we can do a few things. We have a few challenges in Lavington. We don't have a block of toilets. People took land of the county, took the toilets. I mean, one of the things that we face in the biggest challenge in Dagoretti North is people just grabbing land, even grabbing land of the school, and they just move on. And and you wonder even how you will be given a title. You find ourselves fighting with Safaricom, with cartels, people who decided the booster is in a school, but the school cannot benefit on the booster because someone else is receiving the money. And Safaricom keeps on paying this person. And you write a letter, and it's like, I mean, you're asking yourself, how will this square be in a school and be somebody's property? And it's very sad. We are even in court with one of a post that was done by my former, who is now Governor Simba, a police post in Rafter Road, that someone is in court that is his land. But there's a police post there, and you're wondering.
And they are police officers.
So it's very interesting, but we are hoping. For me, I think one of the things we need to work around in Nairobi is our young men.
And women.
Youths.
Let me start with the basics, so which you talked about school feeding. So you say the school feeding program has already been rolled out.
Yes.
In how many schools?
In 2 schools now.
In 2 public schools.
Yes, and they carry like 8,000.
Both.
And like one has Gatina has 3,800 now, and Kawangware has 4,000. And I am still pushing in sweeping, because what do we do? Those are the schools we have.
Those are the only schools available in that neighborhood.
In Dagoretti North. And in high school, we only have one mixed, Dagoretti mixed, which as I'm mopping up, I'm just telling the teacher, Form 1s, here they are the gate. I know we are doing also in Lavington girls. We need to, the principal is a bit new. I think she has never worked maybe in a place where we have children who come from informal settlements.
An ever-increasing demand.
Yes.
For that.
So she finds it very challenging, and you'll always find her pushing. She wants the school to perform, yes, which it has to perform. But I always tell her also, the priority why we built this school was to ensure girls are not in Kawangware. They should come to school. And so you'll find, and she keeps on telling me, in discipline, I say yes, because of the environment.
Okay.
And if we don't remove them from that environment, we'll continue having the same challenge.
Forgive me, Mheshimiwa, but let me just come back to the question.
Yes.
School feeding.
Yes.
You say you, through NGCDF, I presume, are contributing towards school feeding?
Not through NGCDF, through partners. Like Stanbic Bank are the ones who are dealing with this. Rockefeller are the ones. So I go through partners, because right now CDF, we have not really entrenched it that it can. But we can do it
So they're putting money into equity.
Yes. So what they do, there is an organization called Education for Food.
Yeah.
And we work also together. So what Wawera does, she packages everything. And we use, when you go to Dagoretti South, there's a kitchen they have built there, a very modern kitchen that can serve more than 20,000 kids.
Yeah.
And it serves more than 20,000 kids every day. So Dagoretti South, they are able to give all their kids food in all the public schools. For us now is when we are starting, and so slowly we have that, then we have Muslim, and when we finish with that is when now, some of our schools, they can afford. St. George's can afford. Parents are able to afford a meal for their children. Nairobi Primary, the same. So you find we have very less unfortunate, and we have those who are fortunate who can be able to continue paying something for their kids. But my wish would be, going forward, if we do the lunches now from Dagoretti North, so we are able to feed even our mixed secondary school and all the kids. And we have very many informal small schools, which we are also thinking, how do you manage them? And how are you able to just put them through a same structure to have the same? Because they are also taking care of children who are unable to go to the public school. Yes.
So Education for Food is basically working in various constituencies.
Yes.
And not just Nairobi County.
No.
I think they're also the ones who are doing Mombasa.
They're like, they have now nearly 100,000 kids
that they're supporting.
Yes.
Governor Johnson Arthur Sakaja, it was his big campaign promise to feed school children. He's also working with Education for Food.
Yes.
So in Dagoretti North, are you receiving the support through the county government to feed the children?
Not yet. I think it's when they've just finished their public participation, and then they will have to now rethink. I always say, instead of reinventing a wheel, I think the best will be for the county to go through the same institution because they have they understand the process better, and you will spend less. And so all what you do is to just ensure we have kitchens, which now CDF can do that, which I am doing one in Mudangari Primary that will now serve the whole of the constituency. And through that now, what the governor will just do is to give whatever he has promised that this will go now to the schools. So you do it in barrows where he has to know how many schools do I have in the western side, how many schools do I have in the eastern side, and how do you, and also he has to get clear data, which I think Wawera does it well. With the watch, I mean, there's nothing you'll take.
The armband.
The armband. Everyone is able to, even the parent will know, today my child got a meal. Today my child is not about to get a meal because I have not given the small token that I'm supposed to pay for my child. So if he uses that route, it will be a very clear program. You can account on it. You are able to see the transparency in it. But if they will do it differently and think they can be able to work on themselves, they will get into a lot of crisis. So, but I know he wants to work with the
same
Education for Food, and they'll be able to have a seamless process when they start.
Okay.
Yeah.
To improve on grades, what is it that needs to happen? I'd imagine, one, increase teachers, increase classrooms, increase desks.
Yes. So right now, it is my duty to increase desks and classes. And we don't want to work where you touch, you want to prove to touch many schools. No. I think what I want to do is first just try and facelift where you see these huge numbers of kids. And so we have to go up because there's no land. We have to increase going up, which we are going to do in 3 schools. When we are done with those schools, anyone who walks in will see indeed we have done something that is better for the children, and they are able to walk into their gate and feel, yes, I am going for my destiny, my education, and I'm able to see through where I'm headed. So that's what I want to do. And then now we'll come and deal with a few of these other schools which are a bit better and need a few things after we have finished these 3 schools, which is Muslim, Gatina, and Kawangware. If we deal with those 3 schools, we'll have dealt with a magnitude of roughly 22,000 kids.
In just the 3 schools?
In just the 3 schools. We'll have dealt with that. So the rest...
Teachers?
Teachers, I know I have walked into TSC. You know, there's one thing I don't want to talk about sometimes. You feel a bit frustrated. Look at now the junior high school. They are back within the primary schools. I will tell you, I think in one school I have only 2. In another,
2 JSS teachers.
Two junior high school teachers. At least Nairobi Primary we have 5 or 6, and so you find that where you have there is need more is where I would wish.
How many JSS teachers have been posted to Gatina Primary?
I think there are 3.
And how many pupils are we talking about?
Oh no. Already in the junior high school in Gatina, they have roughly 800.
800 what?
Kids.
In grade 7 alone?
Yes, because when they were doing when they were moving, standard 8, it was like 800. So we have 4 streams in each class. 4 streams. There are many. Yeah.
4 streams, 800. That's 200 in a class.
Exactly.
Wait a minute.
Yes. You walk in. You walk into a classroom. You know you can't.
200 pupils in one class.
The kid has to stand so that the door is open and then the desk is returned. If you go to Kawangware, they are like this.
They're packed.
Like this.
Sardines, yes.
Even when you bring in good desks, you are unable to understand where the desk is, where the child is, how many can sit on this. So that and that is why we are saying.
And how many teachers?
2.
2 teachers?
Yes, TSC 2.
2 posted by TSC
Yes.
to teach these 800 children.
Yes.
And the school has been open for over a month now.
Yes.
And so obviously there's no learning that's going on.
Well, obviously they are just wondering, first of all, are we back in our same school? What is best for us here? And that is why we have to just go there and do a complete. Thank God we have a fantastic head teacher who came in this should be her 6 to 8 months. She hasn't stayed for long, but she has done so well. Even when we started now pushing in the standard 8 grades, we really worked, and she really, really worked to ensure. And we were able to see many of them. They have passed. We've tried to push them in the national schools that they are supposed to go in. But I know. Kawangware and Gatina is just unbelievable. So and because of food, every day kids are just
coming. Have to come to school.
Yes.
What are you doing about it? What are you doing to address this?
That's why I said we for us, our priority is to focus and bring in 4 classrooms going up to assist.
There's that, but then there is JSS where transition has happened and they're not teachers.
In fact, JSS. What I'm talking more about is the JSS. We have to push the classes for them, and then now come back and look at. We've pushed in desks. But then even if you push in desks, you will find a school having so many desks, but they don't have the classrooms to put those desks.
Without teachers, all those things just become one thing. Daycare. They are a daycare.
I'm hoping that with all this the recruitment that is happening, we are waiting to see how many teachers now we will get. We are waiting to see, because I know it's not something to laugh about, but 33,000 teachers, we are hoping we will see how many will come through to Dagoretti North. I'm hoping they won't make it an issue where again people will start complaining one region has gotten more than others, yet they already have teachers. So I'm hoping they're going to balance. I don't want to speculate anything. But
allow us to speculate on your behalf then.
Okay.
Because if indeed, as we speak, there's very little progression on that particular matter, and at this pace, by the time the teachers are recruited and posted, and they actually report, we are in March.
There's something that also needs to happen there. They need to be sensitized on the CBC curriculum.
Yes, I was leaving that a little aside. I'm just thinking of the movement of the human resource to respect.
Term 1 is gone.
No, that one is history.
They're about to go to
that's history.
Yeah.
So by the time they come in and even get, because posting and reporting, 2 very different things.
Yeah.
So then they settle in and actually start teaching, and the syllabus. And the syllabus are actually based on teaching on a, not daily, but on a weekly basis, daily. So they're already behind.
Absolutely, of course, yes.
Now, that's where now inculcating them into the system comes in, and then expecting them to actually teach and get to the point where the students should be. Earliest, August. At this pace, the likelihood of these students losing a whole year is very high.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
It's very, very high.
Yep.
So then what will we do with these students?
Yep.
And that's why I was saying I wish the Ministry of Education will look at urban areas very differently from rural areas. First, to know that in urban areas, Nairobi, to get land to even just build a new school to start afresh, it's not there. And so you have to work within the schools that were of city council those days. And you remember when the Mzungu was building it, the pillars were very different. So you can't just come and put something on top of the other. You have to now look at the strength of the school and be able to get pillars that are clear so that you go up. So you can't do a program, for example, now high school. Yes, we want to do 100% transition, but look at Dagoretti Mixed that Mama Beth Mugo started. Right now it has more than 3,000 students, because that's the only school you find there. Then we have the new Milimani Boys, which is just close to Nairobi primary, which again now we have to bring in boys and ensure, and it's new. So you find teachers, even the head teachers, the principals, are really struggling with some of those things.
But if we address this matter realistically, many public schools had huge compounds.
Yes.
To start off with.
Yeah.
Problem is not the space. Problem is people who took that land,
yes,
which had previously been
school.
Yes. How do you return that land? Because even if somebody has built a block of flats, the common good for which this land was intended is what has been abrogated. If it is your property, tough luck, because it wasn't yours to begin with.
True.
You may say you didn't know. That's not an excuse if you look at our laws.
True.
If sanity is to return, it isn't just school land. Public property, prison land, police land, civil, you just go across the board. Land that had been intended for public good, which has been taken over time. If it is returned, we have land.
Yeah, a lot of land.
Land which was intended for public spaces, which again was taken. I look at Eastlands, the whole of Eastlands, not a single space for people to simply hang out.
True.
But it existed in the planning. It was taken.
Yes.
Now, these things have to be returned.
I'm hoping.
No.
I mean, for me, if you can return Lavington, just Lavington primary land, then we will have we'll have broken the ceiling. You can imagine in Lavington primary, so we have Lavington secondary girls. Then in the map now, right now, if you now draw that map, you will be wondering, what is this? Because the school is here. Then somebody came and grabbed and decided to do some townhouses here. The booster is down here. It is for Lavington primary. So you're wondering, how does this land come and go stretches like this? Then you come up, you'll find the houses of teachers. They are on the road. But then next to them, there is another townhouse coming in through. Then you go down inside the school. The quarters of the teachers are somewhere up here, and there's somebody who has built right here. But you are here. So your land is just a zigzag. And you're wondering, when did it become a zigzag? But when you and the guy has put mabati and is building. And he's finishing his townhouses.
And he has been given authority and permission to build.
Yeah. But then you're asking, how is he here and the town and the quarters of teachers are here, and him is inside the school? And you can't get the answer. And you look at it, you try talking, nobody wants. I mean, look at the petrol stations that have just mushroomed. In a span of 3 months, we have all along James Gishuru, we are going to have like 7 petrol stations. Just like this. I don't know whether petrol stations have become also money laundering machines. Because you are wondering, what are all these petrol stations for?
They're attached to other businesses.
And then the worst is, even where you're not supposed to put, where in the map, there was no gate that was supposed to be on that side. Now gates are coming up. You find when now the lorries are coming, they are just on the road because they have no place of loading of anything. It's on the road, right on the road of James Gishuru. There, at the roundabout, this is next a petrol station coming up. Right at the roundabout there, St. Austin roundabout petrol station. And you're wondering, so the gate will look this side. So how?
We have very many questions. Let's take a break. It's 27 minutes to 9. The Honorable Beatrice Elachi is a member of Parliament for the Dagoretti North constituency. She's here to talk about the issues that, the things that she's dealing with in her constituency. And then we talk about national politics as well. Issue of JSS transition, we've talked about it here on the show. Ask those questions. Coopet asked the questions the other day. Everybody's been asking the questions. You sit in the National Assembly. You oversight the national government that is in charge of JSS. We'll ask you what you are doing in the National Assembly to address this particular matter. On behalf of the 800 children in Gatina Primary School, the other 800 blah, blah, blah in Kawangware Primary, the other 1,000 or so in Muslim, all of the children in your constituencies to start with, and then going countrywide, 1 million children who up to now have not started learning, and they're in JSS, in junior secondary, in this new swanky curriculum called the CBC. What are we talking about?
It's a good curriculum, but it needs a lot to be thought.
26 to 9. I'm supposed to talk about flying better with Emirates. Because, when you think of flying and you think of flying better, flying Emirates business, of course you have flown Emirates business and you know how good it is. I'm not going to ask you what your experience was. I can just see by the smile on your face that it's the best. If you think of flying, fly better, think Emirates.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Congratulations. You've seen the hand of the Lord.
Thank you very much. I've earned another title today, this morning at SpiceFM. Mama Justice, I don't mind it.
Joel in Kericho.
Salama sana Heri, habari ya asubuhi.
Salama bwana, mambo namna gani?
Salama kabisa bro.
Mambo ya Inamoi kuliendaje?
Mambo ya Inamoi, vile nilikwambia ndugu yangu, alienda asubuhi na ile gari ya kwanza.
I must have missed it.
So did I.
Even if somebody was to render you irrelevant, there is still work you can do.
Okay, sawa.
I deserve to keep you accountable. You deserve to give me a report. You don't work for me. No, I don't work for you. You work for me.
Do you like that Freudian slip? Lovely, isn't it? Thank you very much.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
All right, so how's it looking like in Nairobi? It's a sunny day, sunny morning at 17 degrees. How's it going to be in Mombasa? Again, mostly sunny day, currently 26. Temperatures will rise to 32. Malindi, sunny at 27. Kisumu, rain showers at 28. Nyeri, sunny at 16. Nakuru, sunny at 17. Eldoret, sunny at 19. Kakamega, sunny at 16. Dar es Salaam, mostly sunny at 29. Highs of 31. Kampala, cloudy morning at 20, and Lagos, Nigeria, mostly cloudy morning at 27. Johannesburg, sunny morning at 15. Kinshasa, light rains at 24. Beijing, sunny at 25. London, a cloudy morning at 7. New York, clear skies tonight at 3. They'll wake up to 7 degrees Celsius. Paris, light rain at 9. They'll wake up, they have highs of 10 later on today and lows of 2.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. On Right 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Yep, it's busy after the Galleria Mall. There's something that's happening around there, and this is heading towards Karen. There's Langata Road right around the Galleria Mall. It's busy, and of course near the Langata North Road and Kuwinda Road and Langata South Road. That junction always has an issue, particularly at such hour of the morning. And as you approach Galleria Mall, again from Rongai, it's also busy. Thika Superhighway, you know what happens, and it's stretching not so bad. Now it's come to Utalii Drift, and then Kiambu Road is also busy around Muthaiga. Once you get there, it's up to the junction with Muranga Road and Wangari Maathai Road and Juja Road, it starts to clear up. Jogoo Road, not so bad. Landis Road is busy. Enterprise Road getting towards town is clear on both sides. Mombasa Road is not bad. Wayaki Way is not bad. Ngong Road is not bad. If there's any area where you think there's something that's happening and we need to talk about, let's talk about it. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
Spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
Continues with Zelachi MP, the Greater North Constituency. The issues that are affecting your constituents and the larger country, Mheshimiwa, today. Issue of course, JSS transition for very many parents. You're talking about the grade 7s who are around a million, who have moved into 7. The ones that are in 6 and they are looking at the confusion in 7, that's a whole million. There are those that did Standard 8 and they're sitting Standard 8 again this year. They're looking at the transition into Form 1, and there's a whole issue of moving into Form 1. So the education
another
sector,
million.
One. Another one is matters of price, cost of living.
Cost of living.
Cost of living, price of unga, price of this and the other, the fluctuations of the shilling to the dollar and how that is impacting the country. That's another matter.
Mm-hmm.
There are 5 million Kenyans who do not know when they're waking up in the morning whether they're going to have anything to eat by the end of the day. 5 million Kenyans in over half of the geographical landmass of Kenya. 23 counties. Those have issues. In those same areas, some of those people who are in the 23 counties also belong to the 6 or 7 counties that are facing insecurity, waking up on a daily basis, and they don't know. Your sister Naisula Lesuda, I'm sure, is not in Nairobi because she has to go there to address there were bandit attacks.
Yeah, and look for food.
Week. And look for food for her.
The other day, we really just had to go around her and see how to just push in for her to get food, to just take it inside Poro and all those bandits areas.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not just the 23 counties. Let me just talk about Nairobi. And it's something, I don't know, I wish my governor can look at it. As much as we are giving, we are doing well, giving bursaries and all that, it's time we look at food. In the whole of Nairobi, as you say, maybe even 1.2 million people in Nairobi have woken up not knowing what to do and have not had a meal this morning. If I show you my phone, I think I have, since morning, you'll be shocked that more than 500 to going to 800 people, everyone called, requesting for food. They don't have jobs, so you can imagine house rents and all that. And I think I always say, if we can come together, and now I know I'll have to talk a bit and my party will feel a bit disappointed. But I always say it's just good to say sometimes what is right. And one of the things that I will really request our party ODM is to understand that Nairobi voted so much for us. That is why Baba got 720,000 votes from Nairobi. It is very unfortunate, and we should also just thank the governor, who is working very closely with us, because if it was in another place, maybe they would be told their shares. But he has gone outright to ensure he has brought in also some of our members who are his CECs. And sometimes when we are supporting him, then you cannot come and start again abusing us. Yet you've already gone to somebody. He has opened the door. He wants support also. The MCAs are giving that support. We as members of parliament must give that support, because some of the things he's doing can assist our people to get those small jobs that we are looking for. The environment that we need is needed for our people to be able to survive, not even just to survive, because that's what people are looking for. And so I've always said, and I want to repeat here, there is no any other person I can respect than the Prime Minister, Raila Amolo Odinga. But at the same time, I've always said, it is good sometimes to just put things on the table. And for now, I am telling you, our people are struggling. Our people who woke up and voted for us are asking questions. So today they'll ask me, we want to see maendeleo. We want to see this. We have an issue. We cannot say this government is doing well in everything. No. We are telling them it is all over. You must think how people can afford food and access it. You see, the problem is even accessing that unga. Where is the unga? You can't access and buy and say you can get bales and bales to give. And so we have to ask ourselves, and we have to turn around our mindsets and start asking ourselves. And I want to thank Honorable Her Excellency Gladys Wanga. You see, she has just turned around Homa Bay and decided we are going to go back in agriculture. She puts in tractors and takes seeds to everyone. You must plant. That is the beginning of saying you are trying to sustain yourself with food security. We have to do that. We have to tell our people, even the ones who are in Nairobi, you must go back home and don't just sit here and you have good land and there's nothing happening there. But then the next question they'll ask you, the money. But we are saying, since county governments are giving those seats, go home, do something, then come. Struggle, as you know, there's something also at home. And so for me, in this time, I am saying Nairobi, we have to work with Sakaja to ensure our young people, all these programs are talking about planting trees, cleaning the river, our young people are able to come in. You look at Nairobi, we don't have a TVET. In the whole of the Great North, there's no TVET. You have so many young people who are supposed to go to get small skills of plumbing, so that even this low-cost housing that we are doing. The other day, I went to the low-cost housing in Ziwani, and everyone was shocked. But this is a project, when I was speaker, we started with Shabal. And so we have your young people, some of them working there. And when you come in, you're being questioned and asked, why did you go for a meeting? The 13 billion we are talking about is coming from a member of Azimio. It is not even a member. It's not even
the contractor.
Leave the contractor. The developer
yes.
is bringing his own partners to bring in money. And therefore, what we should do is, first of all, to celebrate and say, at least we have a partner who is doing something in Nairobi.
I get the sense what you're saying, Mheshimiwa, you are at pains to try and explain yourself and why you're doing the things you're doing, which appear to be going contrary to what the party leadership wants to be doing.
Yes.
What does the party leadership want?
Well, we also...
we saw the statement yesterday. The party leadership and the Azimio leadership is saying...
Which by the way, one of the things I'll say here for free, I think women in ODM, we are so strong and we are truthful to our journey with the Prime Minister. Very truthful. That we don't know how to go give fitina, the men in ODM with the fitina.
Men have fitina.
Oh, you will be so surprised. It is so sad. Today, they will lie on this, they will lie on this, they will say this. You're looking at them and you're wondering. But you know, when it comes to now real action, you'll just see the women doing the action. The men, again, will be behind us. And that's I look at them and I wonder.
So what is the women's position? Are the women...
Women, we are very clear. We want to see development, yes, but we are also focused on what Baba wants. And we will deliver at the time you will see us.
Which is the demonstrations?
Because we are soldiers, we will too. But the most important thing we are saying, we have to see development. That is why all the women who are elected within ODM, everyone is focused in their constituency. You go, because you are judged, by the way, I am judged so harshly that nobody remembers 10 years there was a man in this constituency. And when you, count the things, none. Nobody remembers that. But nobody even remembers he was supposed to employ people. But now, because I'm a Lachi, I am a woman. Who was it? And yet I have employed, right now, pushing for even employment, for even trying this, even trying opening businesses for a few young people. We have done. But I'll tell you, Eric, in those few months, when you look at how you're judged, the best thing I've told myself, you know what? Focus on what people wanted to see.
So when you
what can be your legacy?
When you say development,
yes,
we've talked about, the first half of the show, we talked about your representation, engaging with the people and seeing what the people need.
Yes.
There's a part of legislation and oversight.
Yes, which also I have done my best
in Parliament. I want to ask you, Mheshimiwa, as the Azimio caucus of MPs in Parliament, with a proper structure of leadership from a majority leader, minority leader to deputy minority leader, whips and deputy whips and all. What has your position been when it comes to, for example, supplementary budget was passed the other day, 200 billion shillings.
Yes.
What was your position on the supplementary budget's inclusion on cost of living? One of the things that your party leadership, Azimio leadership, is demanding is a return of subsidies. Did you push for that to be included in the supplementary budget?
No. I will be lying to you. Fine, first, I'm not in the budget committee. And that is one thing I have always asked myself. You see, we come outside, Eric, and we are able to say so many things. We go back in the house, we have committees, isn't it?
Yeah.
I am in the CDF committee. That's the committee I'm in. Those who are in departmental committees, didn't they pass their CSS? Was Azimio members there? Yes.
Yes.
So they agreed with it. They have come with a supplementary budget, which I also questioned a lot of things. I also questioned my own parliament. And I was like, we can't have a building being built for 15 years. And we are here trying to say we can also audit others. It is wrong. We have to finish. And they had already passed everything. Did they question? Did they put in their minority report? None. So it means they agreed with it. Then they moved on. The other question I always question, and that's why we have to understand our constitution. And I always tell citizens, our constitution is a constitution, the American style. So this thing of opposition is not as the way you will think, because you work so much in committees. The moment you table the report, even if you do drama there trying to please Kenyans, that report is passing. And by the way, when the ayes heard it, we were all quiet. Ayes. There was no nays. So we passed it. It means...
So the budget has been passed?
Yes.
It has been passed without these things that you're demanding. You're demanding, for example... Well,
No, they are there.
The leadership
and that's why I want to say...
The leadership of Azimio is demanding a return to the Unga subsidy.
No, we refuse
to that. A supplementary budget was passed the other day in the National Assembly. No report from the minority saying we object to this supplementary budget because it does not contain these issues.
But we gave reasons. I know many of our side really also did not support that thing of subsidy, and they gave reasons of why.
And it is in your record.
It's in the Hansard. You'll see everyone. I mean, that's why I say Parliament is also a place where you are elected with your interest. What is the interest of my people of Dagoretti North? Must be on the table. And so if that interest is part of what the government is doing, I will support, because that is the interest of the people of Dagoretti North. And so we have to look at it in two ways. When someone is speaking, he speaks for his constituency, her constituency. And therefore, you can judge them, but when you go on the ground, that is what the people want. So we will have those who are playing the politics. In Parliament, we can't play politics. I have brought in so far 3 motions. I am talking about EPZ. I have talked about other things. All of them, I need the government to do. Those are part of what I feel are interests of my people of Dagoretti North. Because if you improve those EPZs, as we say, if you waiver out, then we have what we are talking about, uniforms. They are so expensive. Then give them to our EPZs to do the uniforms, and the parents will be able to afford, and every child will walk with dignity going to school. So there are so many things that we will have to look at. And
so how do we separate between what we see in the prayer rallies and Sunday concerts with what you are actually doing?
You see, what I'll say today is that the most unfortunate thing, and I want to tell the government, is they are also playing a lot of politics. They encourage all these momentums we see, and it will be so sad for them. Because if you just do your work, you have won. As they say, God has given. Yes, you have won. You are the one holding the country. Now, bring more peace than bringing more divisions. And every time, people know you have won. Don't rub it every day and remind, it's not helping us. It's not helping any Kenyan.
Mheshimiwa, you know, what you're saying makes a great deal of sense, and you are absolutely right. Our constitution may not envision what we call an opposition as you'd see in a parliamentary system. We understand that. However, the system doesn't prevent you from voicing and raising the issues that concern the citizens.
Yes.
And suggesting and providing alternatives.
And that's why I'm saying how I wish us as members of parliament would have understood our constitution, that we are not there to please the executive. We were supposed to be now, all of us, the eyes of the citizens, to watch what the executive is doing. So that when it comes to the House, if it is something that you feel this is going to put the country into crisis, you just stop it. All of us, both sides. But now, what we did with our constitution, let's look at the US. Let's look at the US. So the Democrats, the Republicans, they have a very clear ideology on how they do things, isn't it?
Yep.
Today, they are the ones who are more in the Congress, isn't it? The Republicans. Has US stopped working? No. Has the budget stopped going through? No, they go through, but they go through in a manner that the Republicans feel this is best for the country. That is how we needed to have worked. That if anything comes from the executive, both sides, without looking and putting the country first, you refuse. And where do you refuse? From the committee.
The committee stage.
Yes. You start from the committee as a team and you say, no, we are yes, they changed a lot of things. Even in the supplementary budget, what the executive wanted, I think some of the things we cut off, which is good. We've really questioned a few pensions that we don't understand why we normally pay roughly 158 billion to London, to some people who from 1924, something very interesting that you can't even understand. I was asking them, why would we even be thinking? But then we have now cut off. So we'll want to see who are the owners. And there are so many things. And by the way, we can safeguard our budgets. If indeed Parliament can just be firm, we can even reduce all, without talking about wages. You find so many interesting codes of resources, and you're wondering, what is this for? What? And so it can work. By the way, we can trim it, even 900 can come off if we are serious, and if we can push Treasury to just itemize Kenyan's budget. Itemize, just give us. Because now you can't tell me we are spending nearly $1 trillion on current expenses.
Very current expenses.
I mean, without even knowing who are they. It's the same way you ask them, okay, can you tell us? Because even we are using, everything is automated. We have our payroll numbers, everything. It means you can get to know.
But you know, Mheshimiwa, the state that you describe is there because those of you whom we elected wanted to be there. Yes, if you didn't want it, you are the parliamentarians. You are the ones who, you actually have the power. You're a budget-making parliament.
Yes,
the legislative business that you've had the power.
Absolutely.
And so what we see is a demonstration of how you've used that power.
How we misuse.
Yes.
I would say that.
Now, so when we speak out and say, when we say we've been let down, that is the mildest way we can describe our parliament. In fact, the politest, kindest way we can describe our parliament. Because every little problem that we talk about that faces the Mwananchi, it's unfortunate, but it's also true, it falls squarely at your feet.
True. And I take responsibility, and I agree. And it's something, we have this caucus, we call ourselves the Open Government Partnership, which we are really trying to really push government. And it's a joint with Senate. But then I will tell you today that the National Assembly has really tried. I think now where we need to really focus again, I don't know what has happened in the Senate, because there are many walkouts. I don't know what has really happened. And it's not so good, because you see, there used to be the pillar of showing where, when you remember the Senate of Orengo, of Moses Wetangula, and now there was sense of pushing government just on the floor of the House until government listens. Now it's like, for us, National Assembly, we are the ones who must take the mantle to push government now and ensure that, look, we have things that we cannot do this way, and I think we are going to do it in the main budget, and I'll come here and attest to it. In the budget of June, definitely we will have to make it a serious public participation where Kenyans must understand they are taking these resources, it's supposed to do this. They're taking these resources. We want to see more resources of economic stimulus packages trying to now come back to SMEs, so that this thing we are talking economy, there is no dollars. There will be no dollars because right now the importers themselves are suffering. When the dollar is that high, how are you surviving? What cushions this dollar? Where is the dollar itself? And those are the questions we will come to ask. And we will want to come out of this scenario of saying, Raila and Uhuru took everything. No. We pay taxes. We pay taxes every day. Taxes are collected. And so you can't tell me there's no day Kenya was saving money. We collect tax and we spend, which is a very, very unfortunate thing we talk about. They ate everything. Fine, they ate. You need to be taking them to jail or whatever. But at the same time, we are still collecting taxes.
Every day.
What are you doing
and
without your
you have increased your bracket of collecting the taxes than what Uhuru had. So it means there is resources. All you need to tell us is what is happening. And you need to come out to lie. We never save. There is no money that we collect as tax and put somewhere. How do you save? If we were saving, then we should not be having this high debt.
Mheshimiwa, thank you. Top of the hour, the Honorable Beatrice Elachi, MP, Dagoretti North. In the next hour, we want to open the phone lines.
What's up your
and get
life?
Your feedback. 9 o'clock.
Good morning. This is the News Wire. I'm Leah Obaga. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kinduki will today issue guidance on the second phase of the ongoing security operation against bandits in the North Rift region. Kinduki says the second phase will differ from the first one, further assuring the government that his ministry is committed to deal with those behind the loss of lives and banditry. The CS has also warned leaders in the counties against peddling rumours of the operation being ineffective.
Up to now, we have received about 140 plus weapons of various types. I can confirm to the country that we will get to the root of this problem of heartless murders by bloodthirsty terrorists posing as cattle thieves. I can also confirm that the operation will succeed.
17 people have been killed by suspected bandits since the operation began 29 days ago, while 140 weapons have been surrendered to security officers. The security operation, conducted by police officers in collaboration with the military, is taking place in the counties of Baringo, Turkana, West Pokot, Elgeyo Marakwet, Laikipia, Samburu and Isiolo. And in Kisii County, the government will not pay pending bills in excess of 1.2 billion owed to contractors, as they have been classified as illegal. Governor Simba Arati has made the revelations after receiving a report on the pending bills. The report, launched 3 months after a task force was mandated to look into 1.6 billion shillings pending bills owed by the county government, raised questions on the debt owed to contractors in the 2013, 2014 and 2021-2022 financial years. Here is Aaron Nyakundi, who's the chairman of the task force on pending bills.
After careful scrutiny, some files we had to do 5 times. This committee could only come up with bills which are properly due at 235 million shillings. And even those bills, there are some small housekeeping which will have to be done before the payment is done. For example, where mobile phones have been bought for staff or laptops which appear to be procured every year, the auditors need to go back to the offices, conduct an audit, confirm that those laptops and those phones are still within the county before the payment is released.
Governor Arati says the county government will clean up its spending bills and clear the amount in due course.
Bwana Chairman, mambo ya msamaha wache ikuwe mambo ya Mungu peke yake. Sisi kazi yetu tupeleka watu mbele ya sheria, sheria ipambane na wao. Kwa sababu hakuna malaika atashuka kutoka mbinguni. Watu wamekufa kwa sababu hawana madawa hospitalini. Kando na haya, hizi ni pesa ambazo zingelipwa. Lakini pia nimesema pesa iliyolipwa miaka 5 iliyopita, lazima tujue ni nani alilipa, ni nini ililipwa.
A businessman has been killed by armed thugs in broad daylight attack in Kibra, Nairobi. Witnesses and police said the man, known as Oscar Komo, was shot by 2 thugs outside his shop in Mashimoni area. The suspected thugs first ordered the man by the name Komo to surrender all his cash before they shot him at close range. His brother, however, tried to save his life by rushing him to hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Nairobi Police Boss Adamson Bungei says they are looking for the gang and they are following following crucial leads on the whereabouts of them and urged locals to cooperate in helping them with these investigations. And a 2-year-old girl has died in a fire incident in Nairobi's Nakuru slums. Police say the remains of Charlene Adhiambo were discovered long after the fire incident that took place earlier this week on Wednesday evening. More than 40 structures were also flattened in the incident, leaving many homeless. Police say at least 3 incidents are reported daily, and at times they occur at the same time, stretching efforts to fight them. And in the international scene, the United Kingdom Prime Minister Rishi Sunak will host a UK African Investment Summit in London on April 23rd to 24th. The summit, according to a statement from the UK government, will bring together heads of state and government from 24 African countries with British and African business leaders. It aims to strengthen UK-African partnerships to create jobs and growth, support British and African talent in sectors such as finance and technology, and promote women entrepreneurs. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Obaga.
.4 Spice FM.
What's happening on the road? So there was that bad accident on Wayaki Way. Unfortunately, that was a crazy one. Let me tell you what's happening on other parts of the city. Thika Superhighway moving, it's improving. Jogoo Road has improved tremendously. Only Landis Road now where there's a bit of a snarl up and back up. Galleria Mall on Langata Road has cleared up. Magadi Road is now clear as well. Naivasha Road is at the junction into Gitanga Road. That's an issue at that point, but it improves. The rest, it's okay. We are off the peak traffic hour. Let's look at how it will be looking in half an hour. It must be much clearer then.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down.
It's 7 minutes of this. Good morning and welcome to the final hour of the Situation Room this week, the second week of March, 10th day. And Siti, did we do the proverb in the previous hour?
No, we didn't.
Did you hear today's proverb?
No.
I
didn't hear the proverb.
There is always a problem.
Just occurred to me.
Yes, Muga has it better.
We have this problem. We live in Nairobi, and somehow when we start discussing Nairobi issues, we get engulfed in it completely.
We get carried away.
Yes, we do get carried away. And more so, everything we're talking about is my constituency. Yes, it's my constituency.
You're invested.
Yes, I feel, and it bothers me. And remember, nilikuwa mwalimu.
Oh dear.
Yes, so inanisumbua sana. Anyway, wacha tu tuseme proverb ili to cover for that hour plus this hour.
Okay.
This is our final proverb from the country of Rwanda. If your mouth turns into a knife, it will cut your lips. Okay, mheshimiwa anaanza kucheka sasa, tutuambie na cheka.
If your
mouth turns into a knife, it will cut your lips.
Yeah. In other words, ulimi ni mdogo lakini inaweza kamaliza nchi.
I think you've got it.
That's it, eh?
But anyway, thank you so much. And let me just thank our Governor Sakaja. If there's one politician we need to appreciate who is in Nairobi now is our Governor Sakaja. He has tried his best to balance the politics, to ensure both sides are able to work with him. But more importantly, even in the constituencies, he is really trying to push many things. So for me, I think he needs our support. You need to walk around, have a program that just goes around and see what he's doing, and let us support him.
Tell us, what is he doing?
When you look at many of the programs he has put in, especially right now pushing Earthy Water to bring in the sewer lines, I think they're in all the slum areas right now. We have guys on the ground trying to ensure. We have young people who are opening up even those drainages and all that, so that when rain starts, I think it will not flood the way it normally floods. But then more importantly, just trying to push in everyone to have consensus that we can work together. It does not matter about the party, but working together is critical to see our county grow, and more importantly, the city, which is the city and the capital city where the GDP is supposed to be so high to support all the other counties.
You know, Mheshimiwa Alachi, when you say these things about county and county governance, you know what you're talking about.
Yes.
You have served as a senator. You have served as a speaker. So in terms of Nairobi County and its governance,
yes,
when you come out and say, I want to thank Sakaja,
it's
outright,
because among all the
you have
governors,
seen 2 governors of the 5 that we have had
I
so
will
far.
tell you, he has done his best. For the few months he has been there, Sakaja has done beyond what other governors they have been unable to click how to deal with garbage, and he's trying. He has pushed in, he has made sure in every in my constituency. I mean, we were crying garbage every day. Today, at least we can see garbage is put together at one place, collected, and you're able to move. You've seen the road 46. It used to be a place where garbage comes up to the road. Today you can't find that. And so
you can. Karaoke Waweru says,
yes,
please ask Mheshimiwa Elachi to discuss and offer solution towards clearing garbage on Salim Road. Kids and residents are choking in garbage, and some are impassable. Children are going to Muslim primary and they have to maneuver through garbage.
Yes, and I know we have removed that garbage. And also, the landlords must accept that we are also not doing right. So it's not just a matter of the member of parliament or the governor. It's also, you are a landlord. Where is your garbage? And where do you normally dispose your garbage? Yet tenants are paying for you to dispose. So when you hear it's choking at Salim, which we cleared just a few weeks, it means the same guys are doing business.
They're
so you bring garbage from outside your constituency to this place because you know it's a dropping place. But I know by Sunday you'll find that garbage gone. But it's also that the landlords must stand and tell us, how are you disposing your garbage?
I think that's what actually Waweru is referring, because he says, who protects this cartel that's dumping on the road? Appears that
they come at night and just dump it there. But I know Dan, wherever he is right now, I'll tell you, they will collect that garbage. But we have a big challenge of those who do the business. And so you find somebody just collecting garbage in Kangemi, everywhere. Just because this is a collecting zone for the county, everyone wants to dump there.
Yes, meaning somebody's collecting money from their tenants as part of the garbage collection. But instead of taking it to a dump site, that is their dump site.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they know you will collect.
Yeah.
Okay.
It needs to be addressed.
We'll address it.
We will invite Governor Sakaja to come and tell us what the work that he's been doing, and of course to answer some of the questions that will be asked of him by the citizens of Nairobi. But Mheshimiwa, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Eric.
Our conversation shifts into opening up the phone lines because we want to ask about our national politics. So we know there have been prayers that have been called to pray for rain, to pray for this and the other. We know that there have been rallies that have been called several. We're giving a 10-day ultimatum, it comes, it passes. We're giving a new 10-day ultimatum, it comes and passes. We want to see, so it's ultimatum for what? What exactly should we be expecting? The question is, are you happy with the leadership that we have in the country so far? Both Azimio and Kenya Kwanza. They are members of parliament, members of senate, governors, members of the county assembly who've been elected to represent us and to lead us. Are you happy with what they're doing?
Let me say this. As a person, I'll blame both sides. Yes. I'll blame that indeed we went into a campaign. It was a very vigorous campaign, a very tight campaign, a very tight win. The best we can do so that Kenyans can appreciate that we are moving forward and they would wish to move forward after coming from COVID and all the things they've gone through was to see all of us leaders try to work. For us, check the government. The government, work, because you have now taken the mantle. But as I said, I wish the government can stop politics now. Unless it is a strategy of running away from something, so you use this to make a lot of noise. So we get confused unless it's a strategy. But if it's not a strategy, then we want to see people working. We want to see people changing things. We want to see the maize that was supposed to come in that is tax-free. I've been waiting for the maize up to now.
We were told
I have not seen the maize.
Prices of unga will start coming down from February because maize will start arriving.
No, the maize haven't arrived. What does that mean? It means all of us as a country must have a conversation that indeed COVID affected the whole world. And where we would have found maize, people did not plant. We should accept that with these wars that are happening, it is affecting us, which during the campaigns, as we were saying it is affecting, others were saying we are not affecting. Now they've realized, so can we agree we made a mistake and come now together and focus the country for it to grow? Because even those imports, even when we are fighting the Chinese, so we fight the Chinese, we say they are bringing things cheaply, but we forget everything of us we are getting from China. So if they close there, then which is the next market for us?
Are you suggesting that given the dire straits the country finds itself in, the people who are either in government and those who oppose what they see should find a working formula for the sake of the citizens?
Yes. Find a working formula, for heaven's sake. Because things are tough. Find a working formula. And I'm just saying as a mother, as a woman, I mean, you wake up in the morning, everyone is crying. When we get out as neighbors, do we ask each other, where did you vote? I come and ask for salt. You will give me. My children are outside there. You are having some porridge. Will you give the children? Will you start asking whether they were in this side or this side? No. Kenyans finished that, by the way. They finished. They are disappointed. Those who voted as a mayor, we are disappointed, yes. But then what next? What does our constitution say? Because a country is not run without one. It's run through the constitution. What does it say? And if we went to the Supreme Court and we were told all those things we were told, hot air and everything, which was also hot air in Homa Bay. So tell me, what then? But I want to thank the Justice Murillo. I mean, she made us proud. Right. And when I looked, I wish the Supreme Court would have looked at her, how she brought down that judgment in a manner where
the Homa Bay gubernatorial.
Yes, nobody can complain. She gave out 13 good issues.
She broke it down.
Very well. And I just wish that was, because if we could have done that in the Supreme Court, Kenyans would have, their hearts would have just gone down and moved on. But now you live a so wild thing, and so Kenyans are just, others are hurting, others are this, others still cry, yes. But then the country has to move, because I'm here in this space today, Omuga. Tomorrow I'm not there. Somebody else will take that space. So I am pleading, we must have a formula. And I'll plead with the president. I'll say, because you don't need to do a handshake. No. But all you need to do is to be a leader who can sit on a table with all the leaders and say, on this crisis of drought, we need this. It has to work.
Saying that, you talked about the American model. You see that. You will find there are issues where
there's commonality.
Yes, there's commonality. They agree and they say, no, this one, you can't have a partisan position here.
Yes.
It's a national issue.
We agree.
So we agree and on this one we move ahead.
And that's all we are saying. We are not saying have handshake. No. We are saying on issues of high cost of living, just have a common agenda together, because even if you want to plant, you have to plant the whole of the country. That country is divided of 23 counties Azimio, 24 counties UDA. You need both. You need to work. It means you are half your country is half. You have to work together to achieve that goal. Yes, I appreciate when he says, I will work with all the leaders. Then work with them and get out of this thing of pointing fingers, of lamenting. I always say a husband, a good husband in his home, he knows their weaknesses, but he will never go out there, Muga, to lament. He will take care of everything in his home. If he decided to marry 5 wives, he knows how he'll deal with his 5 wives. Now, here, where I have a big problem is every day on every podium, as you say, Eric, you are in church. Church that prays to remove things. You are there, they've just prayed for you. You lament again. But they have just prayed for you. It means you have to have a positive attitude as you come out of that church. I must have a positive attitude when I'm in Lent. I must. And I must know that I'm in Lent. I'm praying to achieve something.
Mheshimiwa, our politics, when people talk about working with leaders, our history is that you bring them into your fold. You don't leave them where they are. You ensure they join your band, so they are under your command. That is how our politics has worked. Every time you talk about coalition, that's the thinking. Every time you talk about a national government, a national coalition, that's the thinking.
But you see, I like the administration. They say they won't. So I'm hoping they can do it different. Do it the Biden way. When things are of a common need, you call each other, you call the minority leader, you call the majority leader, you agree, and you call other leaders. And you agree. And it moves. The challenge is that we have a constitution, yes, but we have refused just to follow the model of the constitution.
It comes on both sides.
We have deliberately gone back to our old constitution where we think the executive is so powerful. It was not supposed to be powerful. I thought that is why we removed powers and took powers to the devolved units. Yes, it was supposed to share that power down across, that you can be a governor and you have to work. But now look at how it has changed. The governors must work with the national government because also we are still a unitary state. We are not federal states. We are not Nigeria. No. Yeah. We are
one unitary
Kenya. One
state.
Kenya. Yes. And so the devolved units, what Kenyans wanted was development to go. But the other governance power still remained at the top. And that is why the president becomes the pillar of unity of that country, Kenya.
Okay. Do you think, Mheshimiwa, that the national leadership is really interested in all those things that you've talked about? And by the national leadership, I mean national leadership in Kenya Kwanza. You know them, those principles.
Yes.
From the president to the prime cabinet secretary to the speaker of the National Assembly to the speaker of the Senate, all those political party leaders. And on this other side of Azimio,
you see, the good
former
thing,
prime minister, the NAK Kenya leader, the DAPK leader. Are they really interested in that, what we're talking about, serving the best interest of
Kenyans?
Kenya?
I think they are. One of the things that I have said is that when you're in the opposition, you check the government. And you ensure government can be pushed to do a few things that can support citizens. What we need to ask ourselves is, are we doing it in the right way? The how. Yeah? That how is what is now with so many, we contradict ourselves so much. We say today this, but tomorrow we have to do this. So we say it outside, but when it comes to real now making things work, the law and all that, we are unable to do that because now we are abided by our standing orders and the Constitution. And you remember yesterday they passed we changed our standing orders. Now the CSS will be coming to the House.
For what purpose exactly?
Every Wednesday. Yes, we as we had gone for the press statement. Yeah. Just remember that. But I have never agreed on that. I have always said you weaken the committees, but we'll see how it works around. We have a very good speaker, to be very honest, Wetangula, having been in politics and understood the houses.
Most of his adult life, really.
Yes. He is able, and given an opportunity, I know he is able to, and he has tried his best to make Parliament work as Parliament. he has really stood on some of the things firm to make Parliament work as an institution of Parliament. And so not so much driven within the politics of the day. But then I want to say this in a very, I know some people get very disappointed sometimes when we say a few words. We are still very tribal. Very tribal.
Very.
Very.
Why very? I thought we were already tribal. But,
oh, good. Yeah.
But the very, where did how
no,
did
no. The very
come?
is now very. And where the country is now headed is like each community is trying to protect its community. Anything that you touch for someone, we come around and if you touch Wetangula, you'll find us, we will come and stand firm. But then, if you touch my deputy president, the same. If you touch the president, the community will come. What Kenya needs to now ask itself, with all the good things that we have been doing, all these things, if we are not careful, we are going to erode them away. And we will struggle so much. We'll go back to the days of Nyayo, where your name, just your name when you walk into the door, which Kibaki had already removed that culture. But I can see, if we are not careful.
But let me ask the question.
We are going
I
back
have to ask
that.
this question. Why do you think people, as you say, have suddenly become very tribal? What is it? What has brought us here?
It's because of the concept of our politics. It's how we look at our politics. When you touch so and so, you are touching our tribe.
So essentially,
when you are not supporting something and you feel this indeed for the sake of the country, no, you become an enemy.
So the tribal factor has actually supplanted the party factor.
Exactly.
Meaning you can be in whichever party.
Yes.
But the moment somebody who is in a position of authority in your community, not party, is touched, then you forget the party affiliation.
Oh, you forget. The party goes. Now we go back to community.
But that doesn't seem like as negative a thing as you're saying.
It's not negative. I'm just saying it now brings a lot of pressure on who is at the top.
No. It's, you see, let me...
And even at the county level. I'm not just talking at the...
Where I'm at now.
Yes.
That seems to provide the check and balance that we thought political parties would bring.
So we check it in tribal me.
Well, no, I would
Which is
rather
okay.
it didn't, but it's the reality we have. And I'm looking at a situation where someone does something wrong and somebody stands up and you don't like it. You may not even like the party, or you may be affiliated with the party, but because he is your tribal
person. Yes.
So
yes,
it appears that this very negative thing we keep referring to as ethnicity is coming in to play a role that political parties ought to have played.
Yes.
Your ilk in parliament ought to have played.
Yes.
Now tribe has come in to fill that gap.
Exactly. Trust me, yeah. That's where we are. So political parties must rethink what they are doing, because anything tribal, even right now, if you touch anything, if you touch Musalia, all the lawyers will wake up. Oh yeah, we will wake up.
Oh no, we saw it with Sakaja.
Yeah.
We saw it with Sakaja. we saw it with Sakaja. It was so I see. Okay, so we've got it. Senator Niwenu, Governor Niwenu. We've got it. So it's not party anymore.
No,
because well, it was evidence, wasn't it?
I don't know. But I'm just saying. That's what I was saying. Sometimes we say things that are very open, and people might think, why are you saying that? Or it's not wrong. It happens.
But you see,
and it comes naturally.
Let me tell you where I'm coming from. Huh?
Yes.
I think the messaging about tribalism being wrong, it's a false statement.
It is.
And
yes, it's not wrong.
It was never really going to hold traction apart from just when you're having a conversation. But your tribal is wrong. Being tribal in itself is also not wrong, because we all belong to certain tribes.
Yes.
Now, that somebody wishes to support the community they come from, again, is not wrong.
I agree.
It's like telling me that if I'm in a position of authority, I should not look to seeing how my relatives benefit. I must.
Good. That's the conversation. And that's where, but then you do it in a manner, when you're in that authority position, do it in a manner knowing, you look at the county and ask yourself, who are in this county? Nairobi is Kenya. So and that's why Sakaja has to balance. He has to balance. He will look at the community. He will balance. Every county, they do the same. Some counties are even worse. They don't even care. They don't even balance. And then you'll find them, they are the ones who are throwing stones in other people. And you're wondering. And that's why when I hear people complaining, oh, the president has Sijui appointed I ask myself, even Uhuru did.
Who hasn't?
Who hasn't? So we should not be talking about that.
Hasn't?
What we should be talking about is this person who is going there. Is he able to serve?
That's it.
Is he able to serve? That's all. Because, I mean, we've reached a point.
Which by this American system that we speak of,
yes,
whether they are senators or congressmen, there are budgets to employ people who work in the offices. People, staff, their relatives, unapologetically.
I know.
Okay?
Yes.
And it's considered, the question that is asked is the one you're asking, okay, these people, fine. But are they able to do what they're supposed to do?
Are they competent?
Yes. Competent, yeah. Yes.
There are conversations.
And if we got that, if people can agree on that in Kenya, we will never have complaints.
See, we pretend that we're against it and yet we practice it.
Oh, no, we practice it. That's what I was saying. It is something we just have to say, are you competent? Do you have the papers? Do you have this? Because this one of coming, the child of so-and-so. Which child? All of the children are not supposed, after 18, they're supposed to look for jobs. And they're supposed to get jobs. And it has to work that way. And in politics also, many people, and that is why you'll find even when people are questioning the governor of Meru, who more can she trust to be her aide, to protect her than any other? Yeah, and she's the person protecting is a police person.
Yeah.
He's gone through training. He's a police. So what is wrong with that? You wonder. Yet that is the only person she felt might protect me, cannot undermine me, and will be able to just ensure my back is protected.
Yeah. You see, the attitude of embracing falsehood and speaking and preaching water while we're drinking wine, and yet you have a situation where the very people who have the authority to make the changes, they say what they think is the right things.
Yes, yes.
This inability to be honest with ourselves with regards to who we are plays out in what eventually becomes the mismanagement of the resources that the citizens of this country have.
Yes.
And it goes to everywhere else other than towards the good that it's intended for.
Exactly. And look at all our principles. Each of them has pushed for their RLRs. Not just at the top you see. Some of them are MCAs. Mm-hmm. By the way, yeah. And so when you look at them talking and you're wondering, Allah?
It's nepotism.
When I was a speaker at the county assembly, I used to look at somebody. So I looked at people, most of the people who were nominated. I could say, this one is of this one, sister-in-law. The other one is a sister of another one who is now a CS. One of the, and they were there, and they have been returned. They don't even blink an eye that you have been there for 2 terms. No, they have been returned again. They are there. Then you ask them, and so why are you questioning other people? Why?
It is always a problem when someone else.
Exactly.
Yes. But not when you.
But if you want to put down the pen, you'll be surprised they are in all counties. In fact, somebody was removed to where you go to that county, they are screaming. You brought us somebody, a stranger, what? Yeah, the stranger came and is gazetted. You can't remove. And anyway, the Constitution says 30% must come from outside. So it is okay. It's within that 30%. Anyway, thank you. I need to leave and go and finish the PDF.
Mheshimiwa, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much. We need to have our dinner.
Yes, we will.
Yes.
28 minutes to 10. The Honorable Beatrice Elachi has been here with us since 8 o'clock. We want to open the phone lines when we come back out of this break. 0719-012-600. Our topic for this morning has been, we're hearing calls for protests, calls for prayers. Is this what you voted for in 2022 when you went to the polls? Is this what you expected from our national leaders? Are they actually addressing the issues that matter to us? Thinking of flying? Fly better. Take long lunch and dine on gourmet cuisine. Watching your favorite box set on your 23-inch HD TV. Stay connected with the free Wi-Fi, or be completely flat on the soft leather fabric. Drift into a restful sleep. All this is happening when you're 40 feet above ground. Uko juu on an Emirates flight. Fly better with Emirates.
Thank you.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
3, 2.
Everybody, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Eric Latifa, Muga, Madam Du, nimesalamia wote sana.
Tumepokea salamu, asante sana.
Hapa Garissa today the weather is very good, only that baridi inatupeleka mbio sana.
Sasa baridi ni degree ngapi hapo?
Hata sijui lakini madam tunakauka sana.
If you want to follow the money trail, you've got to think like a thief to be able to catch that thief.
A slap from a friend is better than a kiss from an enemy. You remember the kiss of Judas Iscariot? Iscariot.
Yes.
He's the one that imetuweka kwa hii mashida yote na mataabu kwa sababu of that kiss. Yet the slap of Jesus Christ when he slapped those guys and walikuwa anauza mboga ndani ya kanisa took them to heaven.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
It's heating up in Nairobi. Current temperatures 22 degrees. Remember, we started at 6 a.m. at about 15, 16. Mombasa, partly sunny at 28. Same thing with Malindi, partly sunny at 28. Mostly cloudy morning. In Kisumu, 23. Nyeri, sunny at 18. Nakuru town, sunny at 20. Kakamega, sunny at 21. Eldoret, sunny at 19. Kampala, rain showers at 21. Johannesburg, sunny morning at 17. Lagos, mostly cloudy at 26. Dar es Salaam, mostly sunny at 29. And Kinshasa, heavy thunderstorms this morning. Temperatures at 23. What's happening in New York? It's a clear skies tonight at 3. Paris, rain showers at 9. There's some light rain in London at 5. And Beijing is sunny at 27. Yeah, that's all. I've actually talked about all these places. Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
We are off the major traffic hour right now, so the roads are looking much, much better. It's actually one of those Fridays where you say, yeah, it's all moving. Kiambu Road is all the way clear up to Muthaiga Junction. Thika Superhighway is just busy around Muthaiga. Jogoo Road is clear. Only Landis Road at Wakulima Market, that's why you have an issue. Uhuru Highway is all clear now. Langata Road is a bit busy as you get into the Muthaiga Drift, but nothing else to talk about. There was an issue, of course, around Mountain View Estate and the areas of Kangemi. There was an accident earlier, but you know, this thing happens on this road between ABC Place and Rironi. You don't even know where the road is. So in that place where there should be a road, it's moving.
Business News with Spice FM.
I'm Leah Ubaga. Water and sewerage costs are set to rise under new World Bank-backed reforms aimed at helping debt-ridden service providers raise 166 billion shillings for expansion and upgrade of the aging networks. The World Bank, in a new report, has disclosed that the government has identified a package of reforms that will help to mobilize part of the additional financing required to meet the country's target for water and sanitation. This includes increasing tariffs to cover 150% of the operating costs of the state-backed water farms from the current 105%. It's likely to unlock an additional 45 billion shillings over the next years to help maintain and improve water and sewerage infrastructure. Kenyans are reducing spending on luxury items, toys and electronics as they chase bargains to deal with the unrelenting inflation that is eroding purchasing power. Retail chain operators, electronics dealers, boutique operators and footwear sellers say shoppers are becoming choosy in the face of the highest inflation in a generation. At Naivas Supermarket, the largest retail chain in the country with more than 84 stores, Kenyans are keeping within their brands but are downgrading in terms of size and pieces of items they are putting in the shopping baskets. Chief Commercial Officer Willie Kimani notes that over the past few months, shoppers are keener on items under the Orange Sticker program with discounted prices. Kiosk Digital Services is looking for a sales supervisor with a bachelor's degree in a business-related course with at least 5 years of experience in field sales. Suitable candidates are required to send their CVs and cover letter by 17th March 2023. Visit jobs.digger.co.ke for more information on this and other jobs. Digger Jobs, your credible and trusted jobs partner.
Spice FM Business.
I have a brother. He was a pilot. He was laid off. He came to a policeman. He messed up.
He went from a pilot to a policeman.
Exactly.
He stole a jet.
Yeah.
In fact, you should be lucky he was not court-martialed.
The Spice Drive. Big hair and the biggest hits from the best decade.
Indeed, it's all about hashtag Spice Drive, hashtag Quatch, KWACH, 3 to 7 in the PM.
The Spice Drive, only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Damn.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
It is how many minutes? Hear from you. Phone lines are open. 0719 012 600. That's 0719 012 600. So we are hearing, yesterday the leader of Azimio, Raila Odinga, said, okay, we're shifting gears. We're going to have nationwide protests to talk about several issues: the high cost of living, overtaxation, attempts by the government to single-handedly reconstitute IEBC, Kenya Kwanza amassing powers by weakening the legislature, the executive and the judiciary, importation of GMOs that advance multinational interests, nepotism in state appointments, creation of unnecessary and unconstitutional offices in the public service, attempts to divide the country along religious and sectarian lines, and then those in government have been talking and responding every meeting that they attend, especially the president and his deputy. Whereas they'll talk about what has brought them to that meeting. Maybe it's launching the new affordable housing scheme, or launching a new gas plant somewhere, or attending a church service. They'll talk about everything else, and then they will have to respond to the opposition. Meanwhile, what's happening in the country? Like you heard from the Honorable Beatrice Elachi, schools in her own constituency, children have crossed over into JSS. They are not teachers. The number of teachers who've been deployed in some of these schools, a school that has a school that has 800 children in grade 7 has only received 2 teachers who've been posted to the school.
Yep. And there are 800
students.
Yes.
Very many schools, this is what's happening across the country. When you talk about transition to secondary school, there are very many who have not been able to report. Why? Because of school fees, one thing or the other. When you talk about the cost of living does not mean that people cannot afford food alone. It means that people cannot afford many other things.
They can't afford to live.
Which means even school fees, they're not able to send their children to school. When you talk about drought and the ongoing ravages of drought in the country, that is a big issue. So how are we feeding the people? Insecurity, particularly in the north. There are people who still are hearing that Nairobi has talked about bringing the military to the ground. They have not seen the military. Those that have seen the military, earlier this week we had the Honorable Kosing, and he was telling us the military was present, but 3,000 cattle were stolen, and the military was present. So these are the things that are really affecting you on a daily basis.
And people died, Eric.
And people were killed.
Yes.
And the military was present. And its other security forces were present. In the other day, Mheshimiwa Naisula Lesuda was going to her constituency. People have been killed. There's insecurity. People don't have food. People don't have livestock. What's happening? With all these things, and then you look at what the national leaders are talking about, what they're pushing for, do you think they're actually addressing the needs of the Kenyans directly today with the protests and prayers?
I would actually ask the question, do they care?
Do they?
Yes, that's the question I would ask, whether it is the national government or whether it is those who are in opposition. Do they really care? Because everything... There are those who say pray. There are those who pray, protest, say. Whatever it is, however you want to describe it. I'd like to understand where the interest of the Mwananchi not in the future. Currently, with the daunting problems that they are faced with on a daily basis, where do these fit in to all these things that we keep hearing? Where exactly? How is it that the problems that the ordinary citizens, ordinary citizen here is the citizens, because every Kenyan is ordinary and every Kenyan is a citizen. That's why they are called Kenyans. Where do the issues that bedevil them on a daily basis get fitted into all these things we keep hearing about? Whether it's a 20 billion shilling gas plant, whether it is dams that we're told which are being built, whatever else we're being told, whether it is the military being deployed, reality check, where and how do the Mwananchi benefit? We've heard the talk. We've heard what is proposed. Please tell us, where's the benefit?
Break it down.
Yes, so that we understand. Where's the benefit?
Break it down and show it to us. I mean, are you really addressing those issues? Members of the National Assembly, like Elachi was reminding us, they are not serving the government. They're serving Kenyans by oversighting the national government, right?
Yes.
Now, if they're oversighting the executive, and we are all talking about the cost of living, and then we are at this point discussing the budget policy statement, in a few days or weeks' time, the budget estimates are going to go to Parliament, where the National Treasury will be saying we want to spend this much. Are we hearing conversations that say this is what should go into some of these areas?
No, we are not.
Like breaking out down the figures and telling Professor Jogona Ndongo, by the way, when you're bringing those things to Parliament, if you do not have X amount of money allocated to JSS, just know we are rejecting it.
Please go back with whatever
just go back with it.
Yes.
If you don't have X amount of money, looking at how we can support our livestock farmers, the pastoralist community, in getting their stocks, in restocking, just take it back. If you don't have X, and don't just say, bring, you should have figures. You're a budget making parliament. You can actually sit down as a caucus and say, this is how much is needed to address the cost of living. If the issue that you really want to see is a subsidy at the point of consumption, which is, let's say we are buying maize at this amount of money and giving it to millers, and then we all bring unga back down to 100 bob, how much should that cost? Come out and say, we want X amount of money to go into the budget so that unga can come down to 100 bob immediately. Without that, what are we talking about?
You know, when you're talking about the reduction of the price of unga, you know what you're talking about? You're talking about not food security, you're talking about security. Because security isn't the number of policemen we have or the number we have in our armed forces. Security is in the population of that country being peaceful and having faith in their government. That's security. And why? If their needs are met, or worst case scenario, you have a problem that is really huge, but it is evident that the government in place are doing everything possible within their means to try and alleviate the issues, the problems that the country or the citizens have, then you are assured of security. But if with every passing day the problems that exist keep being multiplied and new ones that we didn't know about keep appearing, what is happening is that a situation of insecurity is actually being cultivated slowly but very, very surely. When people are hungry and they don't know what to do next, that is a heightened security situation.
Yep.
If there is no plan to alleviate and reduce this considerably, not these spot check issues where food is taken once and then one doesn't know what happens next, but a concerted plan where there's a continuum in it. And there's a focus where you deploy the resources you have, whether it is military, whether it is police, all these people whom we have to ensure that that citizen feels my government is looking after my interest. I am assured of today, tomorrow, next week, and the month. Then one will not be in doubt that their interest is being taken care of. The culture we've developed where our problems are addressed by talking at them, and every time we have an issue, we are provided with more words. And we are told about massive, mega, ultra mega projects that are to come in the future. Today I read a news snippet when I was looking at my phone. And that one I felt this one makes sense. The military is going to be deployed. The military have an engineering corps.
Yeah.
to build water pans. I said, hallelujah, water pans, thank you. And some small-scale dams. I said, that is feasible. The military has in the past built bridges. These are things. They're engineers. Engineers are engineers.
Yes.
They just happen to work in the military.
Yes.
That, to me, is a possible solution. Now, when you come up with possible solutions that one can see you doing, because they also have the equipment, then I say, yes, there's movement. But so long as it's some high-flung ideas, yet the basic problem is food, the basic problem is water, then you've lost us completely.
You're talking about addressing this problem in 5 years' time.
Okay.
Today, I don't have food.
Yes. So.
Today, I lost 1,000 heads of cattle.
Yes.
I don't have any source of livelihood.
And I don't know how I'm going to replenish the stock I've lost.
Exactly.
I've been driven to poverty. Not just poverty, abject poverty. And because of the situations we find ourselves in, blame it on climate change or whatever you wish to, but I am poor. Poorer than I've ever been because of this situation.
And then you say that, we are going to address this, in the long term, in the medium to long term. Let's even talk about the medium to long term, all right? Like Elachi was saying, the issue of the importation of these grains was supposed to have happened so that we start feeling the effect of it by the end of February.
That was the idea.
We are approaching mid-March.
Yes, we are.
Okay? The conversation hasn't moved into a place where the ministers responsible, the one for trade, the one for agriculture, are actually sitting and saying, so guys, this is it. We have X amount of stock in the country for maize. This is going to the millers, and then the millers will have access to it. The ungas will come to you, and this is how much unga should drop by. Or this is how you'll be able to access this grain that we've imported, the rice, the maize, the blah, 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 blah. Now, we are not getting that information. We're just hearing, maize will come, maize this, we are getting 40,000 acres in that, this. And they're all tax-free.
And it's all in the future.
And it's all in the future. Let's even assume it's present, okay? How do we know that the person who's imported maize and gotten a tax rebate is not selling it to us at market price today?
We have no assurance because the price of maize, when you go to buy it, unga has not gone down. So
nothing has changed. There was an importation window in December.
Yes.
There was an importation window in January and February.
There was.
There's an importation window now. Have you felt the impact of those importation windows?
No. We hear of it, but we even hear of cheaper foods coming. We even hear of KRA having given waivers. But it has not reflected in us receiving things that we need at that so-called cheaper rate. We haven't. So when you tell us those things exist, we ask the all-important question, what are you talking about exactly?
Yeah. It's very many questions that we ask ourselves then. Are these leaders really addressing what matters? Like you asked, do they care?
You see,
does William Ruto care? Does Rigathi Gachagua care?
No,
does Musalia Mudavadi care? Does Raila Odinga care? Yes. Does Martha Karua care? Does Kalonzo Musyoka care? Do they really care?
How do you explain a situation where you're telling us every day that you're looking into the interests of people? You've declared and told us 30,000, 33,000 new teachers will be employed. Now, we go to the ground and say, okay, let's talk about the number of teachers whom we have actually been deployed.
Yeah.
You go to Kaongare Primary School. You're being told this movement, the CBC movement, the junior secondary school, one school, 800 students, 800, meaning they were there, they did the exam, same school, they've now moved to the so-called junior secondary school.
Yeah.
They have 2 teachers. Now you want to do the maths. How's that going to work out? Then
it's impossible.
What are you talking about exactly?
It's impossible. It's impossible for 2 teachers to teach 800, even if they were only doing one subject.
It doesn't matter how well-intentioned you are.
And now remember, they're supposed to do 12 or is it 14 subjects?
Yes, exactly. No, I mean, how? How do you even begin? Or do you tell students to come to school on alternate days? Or you teach half day? I mean, how do you plan and work this thing? Now, when we say that the government is slowly but surely helping us believe that they are not serving our best interest, you're being too critical of the government. We are merely stating the facts. The needs that are there ought to be met by the government. They're not being met. How else do you interpret it? Forget the politics. These are the needs, these are the problems, and it's only the government that can solve them. They're not being solved. So how do you want us to interpret this situation?
You don't care.
Yes. Do you really care?
You don't care.
And if you care, demonstrate it. Talking about it, the problem, we know the problem. We know it full well. And the people who know it even better are the ones who are actually experiencing that particular problem. So, do you really care?
You know, so MPs yesterday passed this new amendment to their standing orders so that ministers can start appearing before them. All right. So there were issues they were saying is, when ministers are summoned to come before a committee, then they actually don't even respond to every matter that is before a committee. All right. I hope the first CS that they ask to the National Assembly is Machogu, who is a former MP. So who already knows how to address members in the House, one would presume.
Yes.
So if Machogu is the one who starts being summoned to the National Assembly, he should be asked about JSS. No member of parliament would lack a question to ask about the JSS transition. They have adopted these procedures, new standing orders which take effect from March 23rd. The Cabinet Secretary will appear before the House every Wednesday from 2:30 to 5:30 to answer questions, expound on government policy, and provide reports concerning matters under their control. A CS shall provide physical and electronic copies of the reply to a question at least a day before appearing before Parliament. See, they've said this is a good thing. Now let's see. Can we hear members of parliament actually posing the question, the right questions to the CS for education? Because JSS has flopped. How many teachers have you employed so far? If members of parliament were involved in, say, remember this recruitment, MPs were involved.
They were.
And they said, okay, let's look at a quota. How many teachers would come from each constituency? MPs went and mobilized the trained teachers in their constituencies and said, apply. So it's not that TSC had a shortage of applicants. Of course, they have many. Why is it taking so long to hire the 33,000? When are they going to be deployed?
You know, those teachers aren't being imported. They are clear in the country. Okay?
They're here, and they are all aware.
You don't need an
sensitization happened because MPs went to the ground and said, skizeni, iko kazi, apply.
Na tumewaletea kazi.
Yes.
You don't need an import license for this group of people. They're here. And
or a work permit processing.
They have also been trained using government resources.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
They are available. What is the hiccup? Because there is clearly a hiccup.
There's something.
TSC, there's a hiccup. What is it? Ministry of Education, there's a hiccup. What is it?
What is it?
Because every single day you have students who are going to school in the hope that they're going to be taught. They can't be taught. Why? Because there are no teachers. Why? And teachers are available in the country. Story of supply and demand. Supply is there. Demand is there. So why aren't you bringing it together? Because the people who can bring it together are the government, they're the TSC. What is the hiccup?
Clear and straightforward questions that just need clear and straightforward answers.
Okay? Where's the complication here, really, in all honesty? If there is, okay, tell us. Where's the complication?
Hakuna. And then also members of parliament should start by asking, so 33,000 to teach 1 million. That's not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah.
And it's to teach 1 million in how many schools?
Precisely.
In several tens of thousands of schools. It's not enough. You're never going to be able to actually distribute these teachers. So what is the plan? And it can't be that, we hired 33,000 teachers. Those ones are going to teach JSS.
All right, Eric, but just take...
Those guys who are in grade 7 today, that's JSS. Next year, they move to grade 8.
Thank you.
The ones in 6 come to 7. Same teachers.
And the numbers will have increased, by the way.
Yes.
And the ones who moved up, who's going to teach them? And where are they going to fit in?
This thing...
Is this not what people who are employed to think and plan these things, are these not the things that they're supposed to solve? They should have said, this is how we're going to go about it.
Yeah.
Because the numbers involved, we know the numbers. It's not that we don't know the numbers. The numbers of teachers whom we have in the country who are not employed, we also know. Where is the prioritization of the things that are most important? If the priority in this country isn't to ensure that the future, which is our human resource, is adequately resourced through the learning process, enough teachers, enough schools, enough materials to be able to learn. If that isn't a priority, then really what is our priority in this country?
What are we dealing with?
Yes, well, what is our priority?
Our priority is saying no to handshake. Our priority is saying illegitimate. That's our priority.
And how does
you are illegitimate, you want a handshake. You're illegitimate, you only want a handshake. That is what we have. That's the dance.
And yet here we are in a situation where we have problems that need solutions. That conversation, how does it bring sanity and how does it bring solutions that are dire, that are needed in this situation that we find ourselves in?
We must ask these questions and we must demand for answers from those that are in positions of authority or those that have been bestowed with the honor of leadership at whatever level. Okay? Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation at the Situation Room. Yes, Ndu has been away this week. Hopefully she'll have rested enough over the weekend and she'll be back with us on Monday. Enjoy beautiful programming. Jimmy Gathu will be attending golf. So make sure you're tuned in for that. It's 10 a.m. Goodbye.
Spice up your life